trying to say.
What's good, everybody? God dang it.
What's up?
What's going on?
We back for another episode of Top 5 Live. episode 28. We're getting up there. We're almost 30 now.
Ooh, we bike.
As you can see, my boy Monty Latif. For those of y'all that don't know, you wildin'. Let me make sure I get his links up here. Black Comics Universe. If you're not following it, again, you wilding out. I think you need to do it immediately, literally right now. Um, and also Peep Game Comics. Uh, he's been doing dope stuff for a while. So if you didn't know, then that's on you. I don't understand why, but you do now. Now you know. You know what I mean? And of course, my bro, big bro down bottom, Javon Stokes. I don't know his middle name, so I can't give out his whole government yet.
Don't worry about that.
I will. As soon as I find out, I'm going to give out the whole government. I'm definitely going to do it. Make sure I get the Visually Stoked Media for those of y'all who have not followed, but I'm fairly certain people have started following them at this point. And of course, our own Fourth Wall Pros /ultra or / plus ultra, I should say, has all the links up there, including the link for my Kickstarter dropping this coming Monday on my birthday. I'm hoping I can charge out the gates. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna share the link right now because I'm trying to stay focused. but I will share.
All right. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I'll share it for the night's over with. So tonight we are doing a top 5 ways to build black wealth, and I'm looking forward to the conversation because for those of you who have followed me for a while, you know that is something that is near.
Oh, lost you.
Huh? Say what?
No, we lost you for a second there. So we lost you for a second there.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. So I mean, for those who have been following me for a while, you know that something means a good deal to me. But to be able to strategize about it with 2 other entrepreneurs and intelligent black men. I wish Roxy was on tonight, but she'll be back next week. It should be a good conversation, and hopefully it's something we can take forward to use. You know what I'm saying, both in our own lives and hopefully for other people that listen to the conversation. To start though, I don't know. See, Danny Bell, right?
Danny messes all up.
You know what I'm saying? So I put a post up in my basketball networking on my page because I'm tired. I'm tired. For those of y'all who cannot see the caption, whenever I start posting these podcasts, Jordan versus LeBron, the sequel. And I feel like it should be the sequel because I've had this conversation too many times in the last 3 weeks and I'm tired of it. I am so tired of it. I am dreadfully tired of it. So I went on my page because I went to sleep. I think it was somebody in the basketball network group. And this guy was making the dumbest argument for LeBron James being better than Michael Jordan than I've ever heard in my life. It was so stupid. And I was trying to entertain it and I just couldn't. Like my brain was just telling me, you know how you get taught when you're young, you know what I'm saying? If you don't have anything nice to say, you know what I'm saying? Just don't say anything. And I had to shut my brain down because I was about to start saying things that I just shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you know what? Okay. You have every right to feel how you want to feel, sir. And I bid you adieu. I'm going to go to sleep. And I went to sleep. And when I woke up in the morning, I was still thinking about it. And I said, you know what? I'm going ballistic. I don't care no more. I'm going to put it all out there why this cannot be a thing, why this should not be a conversation. And I don't understand why it is. And that conversation and that post is still going insane right now in that group and on my page. There are people still literally posting on that group, in the group, and on my page about that subject. And it's insane to me how many people care about this debate.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. Like Ted Sakura, I had no idea. That's my boy that does he just did Bloom. He just got a deal with Diamond. What is it? God, Punchline. What's the other joint he has that's big time? I
Tap
can't think.
dancer or something like that.
Yes, yeah. Tap dance killer. Yeah, tap dance killer. Um, it is. I agree, Kevin. Ted jumped in and he's on LeBron's side, and I'm like, bro, I could have sworn that I could have sworn you can't do this to me, man. Like Amani, you're gonna have to explain this because I already know me and Javon are not having this issue. So please attempt to explain how this is even a conversation. I don't understand how this is a conversation at all.
You want
Why?
me to explain it?
I can explain it. But go ahead, Amani. Go ahead, man.
I don't want to explain it because I'm gonna say things I shouldn't. So somebody else explain.
Explain why it's a conversation or why.
Like, how is this a thing? How is this a debate? How is it a debate about whether or not LeBron James is the GOAT in basketball and over Michael Jordan? Like, how is that even? How did this happen? Why isn't this LeBron James versus Magic?
You know,
or LeBron James versus Kobe? You know what I mean? Like,
it's weird. It's like I was thinking about this conversation a lot, and I was like, man, I need to get some numbers and all this kind of stuff. And the reality is, my opinion is more theory than anything because, like I was saying in your chat, in your thread, it's like I think it's probably a draw only because when you look at the numbers, they're pretty much what and what. I mean, but of course, always the big standout is the rings. That Jordan has more rings.
And better statistics. And more accurate.
They're not that, but it's like it's not so astronomically better that it's like, but I will say this. It's sort of like, so all that to say, I don't necessarily have a horse in this race is number one. Number two, I think the reason why we have this debate about these two players in particular is because LeBron specifically as a player, when he came in and the athlete that he is, I think he had two things going for him that previous athletes before him and just after Jordan didn't necessarily have. And that's one, he had social media. And I think in a weird sort of way, ESPN plays a huge part of this whole debate.
I could agree with that. I could agree with that.
So like if you think before LeBron, we were never debating whether or not Kobe was better than Jordan or anybody.
That's actually
anybody.
That's not true.
But it wasn't as well. I know it's not.
It wasn't like this.
There were quite a few people that were Kobe stands.
It wasn't like this though.
I'm sure, and it's like, and I'm sure it all falls short because Kobe never had 6, right? So it's sort of like it's always going to be I think in this particular case, the reason why we have this debate is one, LeBron has social media on his side, really driving this conversation. Whether or not he's the GOAT now or ever will be the GOAT.
No,
it's always going to be debatable because
not really.
Fans are going to continue to drive this narrative for a very long time. Two, what you'll notice is definitely ESPN and what that whole business basically churns out stats on a regular basis that are constantly put these two together against each other.
Yeah. LeBron meant for that too, though, because he won a number in the first place, which was a mistake.
Yeah. And so he basically created this. He definitely created this narrative, and he capitalizes off of it.
He does that bullcrap a lot.
I don't think he created the narrative.
I do.
Oh yeah, I think he definitely had a hand in it.
Yeah.
All right.
He meant for it to happen.
Here's the deal. The reason why we have this argument is very simple.
Mhm.
Cognitive dissonance.
What?
Cognitive dissonance.
Nah, it's just generational, man. Like there are a lot of dudes that like think about how, people look at like guys like Bill Walton or from that era, they'll be like Bill Walton is the GOAT. Like for them. Hold on, just hear me out. Not Bill Walton. 18
Bill
champion.
Russell.
Bill Russell, sorry.
Boy.
Bill Russell. Yeah, like a lot of they'll tell you straight up. He got 18 championships. He the GOAT. That's
11
that
championships.
generation.
Mhm.
Then there was a generation between the Jordan generation and then that generation where it was like Magic and Bird. Because remember, that was a big battle.
Yeah.
For those that were alive back then, people were like, "No, Larry's the greatest. No, Bird's the greatest." Magic's the greatest.
And that would have made sense at that time.
Then Jordan came, and then with Jordan came, I think Jordan kind of
reset the board.
I don't know if I would use the term reset the board. He kind of gathered all of the Larry and the Bird, the Magic, the Russell fans, because all of us were like, dude, we haven't seen anything like this in like a long time. So there was a gap between the Jordan and the Jordan and the LeBron years, right? So there's a small gap. But when LeBron came out, we got to give him credit. When LeBron came out, it was like, yo, this dude is like dominating. Like he was dominant from straight out of high school. He was dominant. Took his team to the finals. Like that Cleveland team to the finals.
That was in year 4, I think.
Was it year 4?
I'm fairly certain.
I can't remember, but
it was not immediate. They didn't.
I'm not saying it was immediate, but he took the Cleveland Cavs to the finals.
It was in 2000. He came in the league in 2003, if I'm not mistaken. They went in 2006.
But still, though, like
that's when they got swept by the Spurs.
That's still, yeah, but he was like the best player on the court, even though they lost. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, now you have a whole generation of people.
What the heck?
I don't know. I don't know what that means. You have a whole generation of people who have only seen LeBron and have never seen Jordan play outside of clips. So they're like, it's the whole thing about, my music is better than y'all music back. My music is better than your music, like old folks, whatever. Like me, I say to my kids all the time, my music is better than their music. But
I want to piggyback on that point because I agree. I think it's generational, but also there's a cultural shift involved in this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because sports happens to be one of those few places that still has what we would consider superstars. If you notice that every other form of entertainment, there's so much parity that there is no real superstar in terms of like compared to like a Michael Jackson, right? Or like our generation of superstars like Jordan, like celebrities like a Denzel Washington and stuff like that.
No, I was talking to Rotsy in the comments.
Oh, but like so basically when you think about Jordan, he's probably like the last real superstar, one of the last few superstars of our generation.
In basketball?
I ain't gonna say that.
No, that holds that type of relevance. Like we
I ain't gonna say that.
But we consider him to be what I'm saying. No, I would argue, yeah, there's plenty of superstars now, but there might not be another athlete that we will consider to be the GOAT because there's so much. I feel like there's a ton.
I see what you mean.
There's so much parity in professional basketball now. I don't think there'll ever be a player that will find their way into 6 championships or 6 rings. You know,
You doggone right.
I
about
don't.
it.
I don't think there. I don't think.
I mean,
I don't think.
what does he have now? He got 4, right? Or 5?
Yeah. He's got 4,
Who?
and one of
Steph?
them got an
I
asterisk.
mean, LeBron has 4.
Come on, don't
Yeah,
do
LeBron,
that. man.
LeBron got 4, and
Don't
one of them
do
got
that.
an asterisk beside it.
Don't do that. Why are you going to do that?
You talking about the one where he got Draymond
Why is
Green
one
kicked
of
off?
an asterisk?
The one in the bubble, bro, that got an asterisk.
The
Bro.
Don't do
bubble
that,
one,
man.
the bubble.
Don't do that.
The bubble
Don't
one's
do
got
that.
an asterisk, bro. I'm sorry.
do
I
that.
don't know what you want. What do you
Don't
want me
do
to
that.
tell you?
Don't do that.
I will say, yeah,
Don't do that.
half the league
Don't do
was
that.
either sick or injured. That
I'm
year.
telling you, like you can say don't do that all you want. I'm just speaking
Don't do
about
that.
facts.
Utah
I didn't
was
say
good
the man
that
don't
year.
deserve it.
Utah
I
was
said
good.
he got 4.
Utah was good. Denver was good. Clippers were good.
Miami was good.
Miami was good.
But they were
Boston
playing.
was good.
They were playing. There
Boston
were
was
no
good and
fans.
wet the bed.
There were no fans. There was no home court advantage.
For
You know what I'm saying?
anybody,
Like,
though.
huh?
No, there was no home court advantage for anybody, though.
What I'm saying is that will be a reason that there's an asterisk there. Like, one of the hardest things to do is, like, in the NBA right now, if you know you got to go into Golden State and beat them on their floor, that's a formidable thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's no home court advantage across. It's literally the definition of parity. Like,
But
they
I'm not-
basically were all in the gym balling. Ain't no
I'm not
difference
saying-
in them.
I'm
They
not-
all went to the Y.
I'm not saying it's not fair. What I'm saying is it's not the norm. It's like a winning a Super Bowl when you got replacement players.
No, it's not the same thing at all. What are you talking about?
It's not a normal season. There's people out there playing in the jerseys,
The
but
only-
it's not.
the
Hey,
only-
wait! Somebody had to win it. He went out there and got it. So
The only thing
Say what
different
That's what I'm
about
saying.
the season-
I'm not trying to take the title away from the man.
Nobody
I'm
was
just
hurt,
saying there's
dude.
asterisks
Nobody
beside
was
it.
hurt. Most of the teams
I don't
had all
care.
their players.
Yeah.
Most of the teams had all their players.
Asterisk.
and it almost didn't have AD. So I mean, come on,
It's
Yeah,
still
but that was
asterisk.
because he got injured.
Yeah,
right?
yep.
Because I mean, so it's like
But I mean, I don't put asterisks by teams because I mean,
no, we can't do that.
I don't put
I mean,
asterisks because
There's
Kyrie
a
got
ton
hurt.
of like I would put if we are gonna do that, man. Shoot, I would the series where he got Draymond Green, suspended
Right.
the game.
I mean, we
man.
can do
I'll
this
put
all
I'll
day.
put
I'm not
I'll put
good.
an asterisk on that. I'll put an asterisk on that.
There
one.
are people that do that.
all day
There's
long.
people that
Yeah,
do
but
that.
it's stupid though.
Because,
Like
I mean,
you play to
it's
win the
stupid to
game.
you.
Like you play to
stupid
win
to
the
you.
game, dude. Like
right. So
I hear you.
everybody had the same handicap.
I that's not what we're talking about. That's not what I'm talking about.
I'm
What
talking about the
I'm
bubble.
saying-
I'm talking about the
all
bubble.
all I'm yeah, but I did not say it's not fair and it didn't all play in the same place. What I said is trying to act like there's not a difference in competition and in pressure and all of these things when you're playing in a stadium full of nobody with literally piped in crowd noise versus
They
playing in
didn't pipe
front
in
of
crowd noise, by the way.
well, see,
It
it's
was
like
piped in crowd noise.
so that goes back to one of my points of my argument was that he has, like, when we talk about Jordan and his rings, he has 6 rings, but at the same time he had Phil Jackson. You know what I'm saying? You have someone, you have a coach that has close to 13 some rings.
But I heard
And it's sort of like
He ain't have them then.
he hurt.
He
I
ain't
heard
have
No,
13
but he-
rings then, by the way.
I know, but I'm saying, like, we're talking about, it's sort of like if you look at his success, this player's success, and you look at the support that this player had, then that would definitely explain a lot of it.
We act
But
like
can
LeBron
I-
ain't have
so
good
can I be
coaches.
honest though? But
LeBron
can we
had
be
good
honest?
coaches.
Can we be honest? Doug Collins was a coach in the league, had been a coach in the league. Phil Jackson had not been a coach in the league. He had coached in some other league, and nobody knew who the F he was. Then he comes out there. It's not like we pop Phil Jackson out the box like, man, this nigga the best coach that's ever lived. Like, nobody thought that. They just thought he might be a good fit because he thinks outside of the box. Let's put him in here, and he changed the way Mike played. Got Mike to believe in passing and letting other people score,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying, in times where he's going to be doubled or whatever. But nobody knew taking him out of the box that he was going to do that. So I understand why people say, okay, he's the greatest coach of all time. But he's the greatest coach of all time because he won 6 titles with Mike. And then he went and won 5 titles with Kobe. You know what I'm saying? So,
that goes both ways. Like, no, he proved himself at the same time that Jordan proved himself.
Exactly. But
so
he couldn't have proven
suggesting
himself
that-
without Jordan. Jordan would have got
neither-
titles without Phil.
No, see, there we go. Just like he might have got titles, but he might not have got 6.
Yeah, but that's a big Mike.
What?
His numbers are irrefutable. His numbers
I'm
are
like,
irrefutable.
nobody's arguing his
was,
numbers.
He was putting up higher numbers under Doug Collins. He was putting up higher
But
numbers.
see, here's the thing, man. This is why I rather go to a draw, because I really hate this debate, because
Me too.
we didn't stop talking about basketball. We just talking about it's a team sport, and it's sort of like, so as you chase, as much as we in this debate, we're trying to convince people one way or another that this person is the GOAT or this other person is the GOAT, and it sort of dismisses so much else that goes into the game of basketball.
Like, so I have a problem with that argument,
I don't
because
think so.
every time people try to discuss about who's the GOAT and everything, to me, sports is competition.
Yep.
You play the best. You're trying to be the best at whatever you're doing.
Yep.
So,
but it's not one-on-one.
It doesn't matter though. Like, you could.
Never been, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you're taking.
Hold on for a second.
No, hold on. It's like,
give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
We're having a one-on-one debate about a sport that is played as a team. It'd be different if we were talking about, but it would be different if we were talking about tennis, or if we were talking about.
Hold on, no. That's what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying. But I understand it's a team sport, but you can cream. What do they say? Cream rises to the top. Like, you can't. Nobody's gonna say Harrison Barnes is as good as Kevin Durant.
Nope.
Like, we obviously
not unless they're crazy.
One is better than the other. Like, I can say here, I can see that Steph Curry is a better shooter than Draymond Green.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
your eyeballs still work.
Right. So that's why when you say it's a team sport,
but
absolutely.
But Steph wouldn't have rings without Draymond Green, though.
I'm not saying
we all know this.
Okay, let me put it to you this way: Draymond wouldn't have rings without Steph. I think Steph could get rings without Draymond.
Yeah.
It's a proven when he's not on the floor. They are affected. They're always affected by the fact with Draymond not on the floor.
Who's the biggest?
Who gets affected more? We saw the Warriors without Steph.
The biggest factor. That's what I'm saying. When
what did Charles Barkley say? He's averaging 7 points a game or something.
They would have.
Steph
would have 4. All I know is Steph would have 4 rings right now if Draymond wasn't suspended a game.
I'm not disagreeing that Draymond is not. Hold on.
No,
I'm not disagreeing that Draymond isn't important. What I'm saying to you
is not more important.
I understand it's a team game, but we can, within the team game, any team
still identify the best player.
We can see greatness.
Yeah,
like football. It takes 11 dudes to run an offense.
Yeah,
right. But a great quarterback
always
could take almost any 10 other dudes and be great.
Yep.
Can we agree on that?
We watched it happen more than once. And basketball,
we've seen Tom Brady make a career of it. I know you don't like Tom, but he's made a career of, like, I'm gonna grab the grocery store clerk over there, and we gonna win a game.
But at the same time, but like that's another. But people argue this point all the time. It's like, yeah, and that totally, and then go right into the debate of whether or not what role did Belichick play in that. Which is a huge part.
Good coaching is important. I'm not.
Which is a huge part of his success.
Yeah, but we just saw Tom Brady go to another team and win a chip. So
in the first one, he won 1.
He's 44.
He still only won 1.
You want him to win 6?
I don't think I've ever seen anything that impressive in football.
If it's like he won. How many did he win with Belichick?
He won 6.
He won 6 with Belichick, right?
Yeah. Right.
He wins 1 on his own, supposedly on his own, and now we're supposed to. No, hold on, like with the term on his own, you're saying like so you take him out of that, and now we want to say it was all about him, when in reality,
nobody said that.
The only way to equate the only way to really find out for sure. If it was all his talent, he would have to win 6 more without
That's
him.
false logic.
What?
That's
How is
false
that false?
logic. Because that's like saying, okay, so if I spend 20 years doing X and then I go here and then now I'm older, I'm a way different player than I was 20 years ago when I won 6 championships. And so I go to this other team, and at the age of 44, I win a chip in my first year.
The
Not
first year he
third
went over
year,
there, that's
not
insane.
4th year, not 5th year. He went in and boom, championship. This is a team that was 7-9 before he got there.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were
Wasn't even
teetering on
making the
playoffs. They were
Gotcha.
teetering on playoffs, and he went and they won a literal Super Bowl. And they
First
sucked
year.
the first half of the season. The first half of the season, they couldn't get it together. The second half of the season, they get hot, and then the defense
took-
gets hot, and then
But-
he just
but
destroyed
I'm gonna
people.
bring
He
it
took,
back.
he,
I'm
he
gonna
took,
bring it
he
back
took, he
to-
took, and he conveniently took key players from the team that he left too. Right.
I mean,
Gronk.
what do you want?
Who else?
No, I'm just saying it's like that's awfully convenient, and that doesn't happen.
Antonio Brown, time out. Antonio Brown didn't show up until like halfway through the year.
And
True.
Gronk,
All I'm saying is that
Gronk came out of
Gronk-
retirement.
Gronk wasn't Gronk throughout that
he
whole
still,
season.
but at the same time, this is a key player from his years from that team. It'll be like
Who was underplaying.
it'd be like if Jordan left Chicago and took Scotty to
They're
LA.
gonna win wherever they go.
Right.
So he took a great player with him. Okay.
So it's like it's not
That
because it's like
goes to
you're
the argument.
it
That
goes
goes to the
into my-
argument about why Mike.
okay,
is
let's
better.
bring it back to Jordan and
that,
LeBron.
that goes into the argument
Let's go
about why
back.
Mike is better. Because LeBron,
but my
somebody
whole
was making
point
a-
about
LeBron is like if nothing else, LeBron at the very least,
LeBron did the
LeBron
same
has
thing.
pro-
Though, if you question that,
LeBron has
did
proven
the
no,
same thing.
LeBron has proven that he can succeed under several different coaches and several different teams.
But bringing all pro talent.
But Jordan, yeah, but at the same time, Jordan never proved that.
I
He
mean,
was
there's a
always
different
in the same-
era.
he was always-
It's a
When
different
he
era.
Was he always y'all? This is the debate that y'all making. It's like if you're suggesting that this athlete here, right, Brady, if he's like he's the GOAT because he's able to. Not only was he able to win in New England, he takes his talent to the Buccaneers and wins again in his first year.
He was the
That
GOAT
proves
before
that-
he went there, though.
I was
But
gonna
like,
say,
but
before that.
you're even more convinced by that, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
no question.
Because so if you have an athlete like LeBron who does this
Right.
several times, like basically Brady got this. If you really think about it, Brady got this idea from LeBron. He's following his blueprint here.
But LeBron has no. Okay, LeBron left Cleveland. He made the finals once.
Right.
So one of the things that Ted said during our conversation was saying that everybody loves to talk about the fact that Mike pretty much ran off 6 in a row, but nobody wants to talk about the fact that he missed the finals 9 times, right? And the reason that's a weak argument is because, number one, when Mike came into the league, he came into a failing team, right? He still exploded the league. When they did make the playoffs, if he gets help at all, we are all in trouble. Larry Bird said it. Magic said it. That Larry Bird was one of the best players, if not the best player in the NBA, and called that dude. He said it was literally that was not Michael Jordan. That was Jesus on the court. We never. So that's insane as it is, and he still did not have any help, and he still was competing with 2 of the best dynasties in basketball history, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's with no help. Then when he gets help, he literally dominates for for an entire decade. Michael Jordan ruled, literally. He kept really good teams from getting titles. The Phoenix Suns, like Ted made a point saying that nobody would have beat that Warriors team. That's nonsense. The Warriors are good with just the team with Steph, Clay, and Draymond are good, right? When they got KD, it makes them a super team, yes. But does that team go beat the brakes off of the Phoenix Suns? that Jordan beat? No. You know what I'm saying? Are they gonna run them off the court? No. Are they gonna run all of those teams that Jordan beat off the court? No. But people will make that argument and say they would. And it basketball wise, you literally cannot say that. You can't. You will be, unless you don't go back and look at the teams and the talent that was on those teams. You can't make that argument. But Michael Jordan, like that's one of the things that I said during the conversation. Michael Jordan literally dominated an entire decade. There was no getting a title without going through him. LeBron has never done that. He went to Miami. He was there for 4 years. He won 2 titles. He had no excuse for losing to Dallas. None. He has no excuse for losing to Dallas. Then the second year you win. Then the third year you win. I think did they lose the third year or did they win? I can't remember. I just know they got 2 titles.
They only won 2.
I just know they got 2 titles when he was in Miami. Then he leaves and goes to Cleveland, right? When he leaves and goes to Cleveland, they win 1. Then he gets another one in LA in the bubble. But there was a gap. Regardless of that point, Steph has stolen titles in between there. Other people were able to get titles in between there in his time that he's supposed to be dominating. What decade has he dominated? That's what
dominated. He's dominating. No, hold on.
He's dominated making it to the finals and losing.
But even in your statement, when you're talking about how you had to go through Jordan to get to the championship, there was a stretch that you had to go through LeBron to get to the championship, and no one from the East was getting there.
When he went to Miami and Cleveland, that's 8 years that he had to team up in order to create. Before he went to those teams and he teamed up, he lost to Detroit, he lost to Boston, he lost to Orlando. He couldn't get through either until he went to team up with somebody else. So if we're gonna knock Michael Jordan for taking 9 years to get there and then completely dominate something, how are you not gonna knock LeBron for literally losing the entire time? Then you do make it and you get swept, and then you don't make it back. You know what I'm saying? Until you team up with somebody else, and then you still don't. You said not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, and you came away with 2 championships after you said that. Then you go to another franchise and you come away with 1. And then you go to another franchise and you still only got 1. And ain't no way they're gonna win this year. Ain't no more time.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like when you think about how much the NBA has changed since Jordan has left, right? Oh yeah, hell, even since Kobe has retired. If you really look at it, I'm not sure if there's even a way for one team to dominate the sport that way.
The Warriors.
It's been, yeah, but even they only have 3.
They've got
so
3.
It's like they got 3. They could possibly pick up 1, maybe 2
3
more.
and 5.
If Clay is healthy in the playoffs,
and that's a big if even this year.
It depends on if the Nets are healthy. If the Nets are healthy, they could contend.
But this is what I'm saying. It's like so much parity because like you try so hard to figure out a way to get the Warriors to 4, and you totally dismissing the Bucks, who will probably find their way back into the championship because they'll probably be healthier than the Nets are. I don't think the Nets are going to be healthy enough to even make it. You know what I'm saying? You think about what KD and Kyrie did as far as putting together the Nets, right? I don't even think all 3 of them will even make it healthy to the playoffs. You know, in the next 5 years, I will be surprised if all 3 of them are even still there. I don't even think they physically can make it. If they were all on the floor, they would probably dominate. But I just think
it's a generational thing, man. Like the people who think Jordan is the GOAT for the most part are of the older generation. And the people who think LeBron are the GOAT is, a younger generation, like maybe even 20s and under. And someone maybe in the 30s a little bit. Like, it is what it is. Like, you can go back and forth. Like, I've decided I'm not doing it anymore. I just call him the second greatest player of all time. If you don't like that, whatever. Like, I don't think that's an insult because there have been thousands of people to play basketball millions of people on this earth. Billions of people who've played basketball throughout the years. And if I think, in my opinion, you're the second greatest of all time, that's pretty damn good. So that's
I also think the other person is probably it's in Jordan's best interest that this debate continues too, because
No, I agree.
without this debate, he could easily become to a degree irrelevant, because
I don't know if he'll ever become irrelevant because he's still relevant within basketball. Because he's an owner, because his shoes get worn.
And that's
his shoes are still
if we change this conversation as to who's the most powerful athlete, it becomes it's like you thought the debate was tight before. It becomes even
powerful
tighter.
Like right now. Yeah, it's LeBron. It's not even a question.
It's LeBron.
That's not even a question.
And like in knowing that he's going to be that powerful for the next, even after he retires, for the next 10 to 20 years, like he could. I'm imagining him being
actually. I'd argue it's between him and Steph right now.
I think for impact on the game, Steph has had the most impact on the game since AI. At least you could argue since Jordan, because AI definitely changed the league in a big way when he came in. But Steph is the next person that I've seen that literally has changed how basketball is played at every level. At every level, mm-hmm. Steph Curry has inspired kids and how other people play basketball now to a larger degree than we've ever seen, besides AI. When AI came in and the crossover got attributed to him and how he played and his bad boy image, the tattoos, you know what I'm saying?
That's
like all of that. That was
AI. That's, stylistically,
I think Jordan changed the game. Steph changed the game. But I think LeBron maybe elevated the
he carried the torch after Jordan.
He carried the torch, but he elevated the eyes. He got more eyes on the league than like ever before. Like he just took the popularity that Jordan established and just said, all right, I'm gonna push it up even higher. And so I give him credit for that. But like in my mind, he didn't change the only thing he changed about the game is player empowerment. I'll give him
player empowerment. Yeah, but I think that in and of itself that's a significant, but that's such a significant part of this, because that player empowerment has created all the dynamics that we see in the game now. You know what
it is, but for a lot of us, that's generational, because for a lot of us, that's not necessarily a good thing. We're happy that players can take agency over their likeness and brand and stuff. But from a standpoint of teaming up, I don't think most people that love basketball really love that idea much. To me,
some people like it.
To me, the wackest thing I've ever seen in basketball history, and I love KD, is when he literally pulled the "Can't Beat Him" Jordan. I have never seen anything more whack in sports in my life, ever. That's literally getting stomped out after you've been playing on the blacktop and everybody's watching all day. You got stomped out by this squad, and as soon as they like, yo, who got nets or whatever, or somebody drops off that team, you're like, I'm going to hoop with them. Nah, bro. What?
I mean, it happens, but you know what, real talk, it happens all the time with courts. Well,
that's disgusting, bro.
But think about it. But you know why though? Because you have a player like KD, right? Talent wise, technically, if it was about
he's the best
numbers,
since Jordan,
he's supposed to be Jordan. But the only reason why we never recognize him because he didn't have a ring. So it's like
no, it ain't the only reason.
Nah, he was.
But that was the biggest reason. Like it was like
that ain't the only reason.
KD was right. At the same,
I'm not gonna do that.
But at the end of the day, no one was having KD versus Jordan debates, right?
Nah,
and they probably.
But you wouldn't have.
No one's having
at the scorer.
It's hard to have that discussion when you got LeBron there, though.
All I know is he needed to put. Looking at it. All I know is that he needed to put himself in a situation where he could get a ring so he can be in the conversation, because as long as he was in the NBA, right, as talented as he was, it was like you don't have these conversations. You're not in the conversation unless you have a ring.
But
we're debating. We're trashing look how much we're trashing Aaron Rodgers right now. He has one ring, but the fact that he only has one, and we're saying he's trash.
That's not why
playoffs
people
are
trash.
trash.
No.
No.
That's not why
That's a
people
big
trash
part.
Aaron Rodgers.
That's a
That ain't why
that's
people
a
trash.
that's a big part of
That ain't
that's a
why
big part of the
people.
conversation now.
No.
That's a big part of the
That's what people are
conversation.
using against him.
Dude.
That's
the
what people are
thing they're
using
using
against
against
him.
him now.
Time out.
Yes,
It's
the
the-
fact
it's
that
his
he only
political
has,
stance.
No.
only
I'm gonna
has
stop
one.
you. Nope. I'm gonna stop you.
It is.
Aaron Rodgers has been doing this for years. This whole get to the NFC Championship game and lose. He's been doing it for years.
Yeah,
People are
Right.
trashing him now and disliking him now because of his whole,
political stance.
political crap.
Yep.
That's why he's getting trashed.
That's
if
what
he
it is.
never had that political crap, time out. If he never had that political crap, people would be like, "Oh, hey, he did it again," and they'll keep on moving with life. But nobody will be trashing him. People are trashing him because he's trash.
You can't watch Aaron Rodgers and say he's trash. That's stupid.
Yeah, like nobody's saying
not
like,
saying
oh,
it. I'm not
nobody's
saying-
going
no.
like, man, he but nobody's
They're
calling
saying,
him
like,
the GOAT. Nobody's
no
calling
one's
him
calling
the
him-
GOAT
He can't possibly be the GOAT.
because Brady has set the bar so high that even
Right.
Patrick Mahomes is great, but
Mhm.
he ain't the GOAT. I don't
Not
think he
yet.
ever will be the GOAT.
Yeah,
He
I ain't gonna say that.
He ain't making 7, dude. You
All
gotta
right.
win 7 chips.
But see, that's the thing. It's like
Okay.
that's the thing that's so frustrating about this debate, because every time you go to the rings, and I'm sitting here telling you, we know this to
then
probably
what's the
be
point of
true.
playing the game though?
Now hold on. I'm talking about with the parity that's in sports right now, that the probability that any athlete could get more than 3 or 4 rings is probably slim, because the
Nah.
parity is going to keep going.
That's life.
By the time, think about it. By the
That's
time,
the
but I
game.
know, because like
That's the
look at the game now. It's like by the time we just now getting started, even comfortable with
The
Patrick
Warriors
Mahomes.
time out. The Warriors
Patrick
made
Mahomes.
5
Hold on,
finals. I
Patrick
don't wanna hear
Mahomes
it,
just
though.
got into the league, and we're already talking about Josh. What's his name?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen from Buffalo.
Yeah,
Nobody's
by the
saying
time-
Josh Allen is better than him.
No,
there's
but I'm
there's
saying-
always been
but it's
other
like-
quarterbacks that are good.
Okay.
Brady always had Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. You know, there were Andrew Luck. There were other quarterbacks in the league that were good, that were going to push for how great Brady was. That's never not going to be a thing. There's always going to be a top tier of quarterbacks in the league, just the same as in basketball. There's always going to be a top tier of players. You got Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry. That's probably like your top like of the superstars. Kyrie when he's out there, James Harden. You know what I'm saying? Like that's there. And then Jordan's there. It was Jordan, Pippen, Barkley, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Reggie
I
Miller.
mean, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying about parity and how because there is parity, it's harder to get the multiple championships and everything. I understand that. I don't agree with it when I see the Warriors go 5 times straight. Like I can't, because if you're telling me a team can go 5 times straight when they got great players, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
And even and if you want to take the conversation over to Brady, like Brady was dominant for 20 years. Like, let's be real here. He was dominant. Even when there was Peyton, even when there was Brett Favre, even when there was, Aaron Rodgers,
He was the one that was winning the
Drew
whole title.
Brees, all that. He was still either winning chips or in the championship. I mean, he's been in the league for what, 21, 22 years? And he's been in the Super Bowl for half of it.
That's why I said if you're gonna have a criteria for who the greatest of all time in any sport is, championships has to be the top tier. It has to, because the entire reason that you're playing the game, the entire reason you're playing the game, the entire people are to watch is because of the competition, because you're playing to win a tournament to crown the champion. If championships don't matter the most, then why are you playing? Why are we watching? You know what I'm saying? That is no way possible to gauge a GOAT in any sport without championships being the top tier of how you gauge it. And then after that, you gauge how great that player is based on their statistics in said sport.
I go the other way. I go the other way. I start looking at the stats. I start stacking everything up. And then once we get to a certain point, then if I need a tiebreaker, all right, how many chips you got? Oh, you got 3, but you got 1. All right, well, I got to go with you because you've reached the pinnacle and proved yourself to be the best. 3 times, whereas this other player, I'm just going to use player A and player B, then you've gone like I give you one. Drew Brees and Peyton Manning. Okay?
Mhm.
Drew Brees and Peyton Manning, you start looking at stats. They're very comparable. You start stacking, looking at stats, look at wins, look at touchdowns, yardage, all that. But then you reach a point where you're like, all right, well, I need a tiebreaker here. How do I break this tie? Well, Drew, freaking name. Peyton Manning has been to 3 Super Bowls and won 2. Drew Brees has been to 1 and won 1, and that's it. All right, I gotta go with Drew. I gotta go with Peyton. So that's how I look at it. I don't look at it first, championships. I look at everything else first, and that's how I look at Lord Jordan and LeBron. I'm a stack y'all, MVPs, whatever, all that stuff, all of it. But then when I get to the top and I'm like, man, this is close. Well, he's won 6 championships. He's won 4. I got to go with the man with 6. That's how I look at it. Now, I'm not saying that everybody got to look at it my way because everybody's got their own criteria, which is why I say it's a generational thing. Like, it is what it is. It's your preference.
Mm-hmm.
But if you start saying, all right, well, LeBron got this this stat, and this stat, and I start going this stat, and then we reach a stalemate, we got to break the stalemate somehow. How we gonna do that?
Mm-hmm.
And that's that's what he said. Like, what if we aren't adding importance to championships, then there's no point in playing the sport.
Well, Well,
there's no point.
Okay.
If you can explain to me why, because when I've heard other people be like, "Oh man, you're always talking championships," and I'm like, "Well, that's why they play. They play for money."
It's stupid to even talk about it without talking about championships. It makes no sense.
Like, they play for money, yes, but they also playing to be the best.
If instead, check this out. It's been about maybe he's got 2, maybe 3 more years. CP3 needs a ring, right? Because based on this argument, this conversation right now, we will debate. Like, he will lose the debate as far as being the greatest point guard because he doesn't have a ring.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say I would put Magic is still the best point guard of all time in my eyes.
Honestly, you can make an argument between him and Steph.
But it's like, but why argue? Because Steph wins that argument because he has chips.
They both got chips. They both got the same amount.
Yeah. No, Magic's got 5.
No, Magic got 4.
Magic's got 5.
No, you're talking about Magic.
My bad.
You're talking about Magic and Steph. No, I'm talking about CP3 specifically.
Right. And if you can't you can't go to the finals and be up 2. What were they up? They were up like 2-1 on the Bucks and not close it and not close the deal. Like, they
got beat.
The only reason
that's the point. That's why we play. We
Man,
play
but
what I'm saying is
determine who the best is.
I know, but in this conversation right now, if it's about numbers and talent, CP3 is one of the greatest. Will always be one of the greatest, regardless of chips.
He is.
Like,
that's not.
Can I ask you a question?
That's not in question.
If you making a team and you got to choose between Magic Johnson and CP3 as your point guard, who are you choosing?
I don't know. It depends on who I'm playing.
I'm asking either of you. If you can choose,
it depends on the rest of my team. It depends on the rest of my team.
Pick a player, guys. Come on. If you said it
like you asked a question. You asked a question like that was like obvious, easy answer.
It's not about obvious. I'm asking you to make a decision.
CP3.
Okay, cool. You picking CP3?
I'll be honest. I would take.
It's like why not?
I'm like, okay, but I'm picking a bigger, stronger, faster dude who can play point guard too and guard everything. CP3.
Well, then
Magic
say
did
that
not
then.
guard
That has
everything.
nothing. But think about this. It's like that
What
has
do you
nothing
mean
to
that
do with
nothing to
rings.
do with it? That's who Magic Johnson is.
But no, think
Magic,
about that.
Magic
But
cannot guard
that
everything. His
that's a
weakness
great.
He
is
can guard
defense.
more than Chris Paul.
No, but
No,
check
he
this out. That's
cannot.
a great.
Oh, do you mean
That's a-
positionally?
God! You don't think Magic Johnson is a better defender than Chris
Do you
Paul?
mean no? What? No.
Oh my God! All right.
No.
Okay. Yo, let's just do the list because.
No. But like what I'm saying is like I was.
Bro,
I'm with you on that
If
argument.
you think Magic Johnson's a better defender than Chris Paul, that is crazy.
Okay.
That's
But that's
insane.
like I'd rather. All I'm
right.
saying is this.
Yeah,
All I'm saying is this. I'd rather have that conversation than to just totally dismiss CP3 because he doesn't have rings. That's all I'm
But
saying.
no.
You know
But
what I'm
see,
saying?
we talking about greatness though. We talking about who's the greater point guard. If we talk about top 5 greatest point
But
guards,
that's the thing that sort of upsets me about that because the you're trying to use a metric, a determining factor that no athlete has any control over.
you have
it's like,
control
yeah,
over if you win a championship or not. What are you talking about?
Not individually. You can only do that as a team. You can't individually get a chip. So like you
I'm not
can't
saying that you can
so
individually get a chip, but there's a reason why some players have chips and some players don't. And a lot of it has to do with the greatness of their star player. And a lot of times these players are the star players on the team.
So you're saying like, so then why even bring AI up ever?
Who said don't bring AI up?
No,
AI
what I'm
is
saying
one of
is
the
like,
greatest he is one of the greatest point
yes,
guards.
one of the greatest,
But
but he
You
doesn't
can
have a
be one
chip.
of the greatest, but that
You
doesn't
can-
you
exactly.
can be
Go
one
ahead,
of the
Morgan.
greatest, but you can't be the GOAT without ever winning the championship. That's not possible.
It's like this is why this debate is so frustrating. It's because
There's nothing frustrating
we
about
like
that.
First
Take
of
it
all,
back.
it's like as
Makes
much
perfect
as much
sense
as
to me.
hold on, let me finish. Because when we constantly we put so much value in GOATs that we rarely ever have conversations about the sport and other players that impacted the sport.
That's
And
not
it's like,
true at all.
I don't agree with that at all.
They just did the top 75 players of all time. Not all of them are GOATs.
Yeah, that's not even
That was a whole conversation
the biggest conversation in basketball right now is definitely the LeBron and Jordan thing. But then behind that, you got there were people debating for years whether Steph was the best shooter of all time. That was 5 years ago they started that conversation. And now, how you gonna have the debate anymore? Now he done broke the 3-point record. You already were looking at the fact, especially off ball, creating his own three and getting up fast. There's nobody in league history that could do what Steph does behind that 3-point line, and that's very clear at this point. It was early for us to say it like in his first 3 or 4 years when we were just watching how amazing it was, and everybody was like, there's no way he can keep this up. And he's kept it up his entire career. He's the best shooter of all time. It's not even debatable anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Sports are always about who's better than who. That's why they play. Like
that's the entire reason.
It's
It's a competition.
It's competition. So like you're saying that we spend so much time talking about GOATs. That's literally the crux of what sports is about. Who is the better player? Remember, for years it was who's better, Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. Remember that? For years we had to go back and forth. Who's better, Tom Brady? Whatever.
And the media had a lot to do with that.
And the media had a lot to do with it because the media talks because that's their job. Their job is to foster conversation. But even if there was no media talking about it, we would talk about it, all of us, because we all watch the sport and we all got our favorite players or we all like players here and there. So we're going to debate. Heck, there's competition within comic books. Who could beat Superman and Batman? Like, it's the nature of anytime you have some sort of rival. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand
and all those conversations takes away from
it's fun.
Really
it's
good.
Fun.
It takes away from conversations about other stories, other characters, other heroes. It does.
I don't think so at all. There's nobody walking the earth that watches basketball that does not understand CP3 is one of the best point guards that ever played a game. If you watch basketball, you're very aware CP3 is one of the best. Is CP3 the best of all time? When you talk about GOAT, No, because you can't have a GOAT conversation. Like Charles Barkley is one of the best power forwards of all time, but is he better than Tim Duncan? No. What separates it? Their championships and the numbers, but definitely the championships. Tim's got 5, Charles has 0, and Jordan's to blame for that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
but
it's
even like to use your comment about how it takes away, because talking about other players and other characters. Like I said, cream rises to the top. We obviously we're not gonna talk about the 5th player on the Timberwolves because they're not one of the best players in the league. Now, unfortunately, that's just the way it is. We talk about the greatest players in the league right now because they are doing great things as we speak.
No, but that's the weird thing about this conversation. We're talking about one player that's still in the league and another player that hasn't been in the league for how many years? Decades.
That's how great he was, though.
Now, hold on. But what I'm saying is this. It's like, and because we having that debate, right? We really don't talk about, there was a Jordan documentary that got, millions and millions of views, made tons of money and stuff like that. We don't talk about Duncan in the Spurs team. We don't even talk about Robinson before him. We don't talk about. It's true. There's no conversation.
Yeah, you're talking about dude. You talking about the best of the absolute best. Is David Robinson
in their time? In their time, that
is David Robinson a better basketball player than Michael Jordan? Yes or no? No. Is he a better basketball player than Michael Jordan? Right. You're not talking about David Robinson.
David Robinson is not even
disrespect. I'm not trying to disrespect David Robinson, but if you're talking about
that's what I'm saying. This conversation is so dominant. There's a whole generation of people that don't even know who David Robinson is.
There's a whole generation of people that don't know Steve Nash either.
Yeah, whose fault is that though?
That's not our fault. That we want to focus on the better players. Like the people that don't know Steve Nash is because of Steph Curry.
People that don't know Steve Nash is because they either weren't alive to watch him play, or.
But that's what I'm saying. Like other players that have come up and have exceeded and surpassed him. Even Kobe. There will come a time where people would, if Kobe didn't die, there would have come a time where people ain't talking about Kobe the way he is. His death crystallized who he is in the consciousness of the world. I think Kobe was a great player, but I think even like LeBron is greater than Kobe. LeBron is better than Kobe. Kevin Durant could end up being better than Kobe. There are a bunch of players that can be better than Kobe, but
even in this conversation, like. That's where it gets frustrating because Kobe has more rings. And based on your metrics, he should be better than LeBron. And the only reason why he's not in this conversation is because LeBron has literally willed himself into this debate, number one. And two, and it's like,
right. There's context within the rings discussion as well. There's context within it because Kobe wasn't the first 3 championships. Kobe wasn't the best player on his team.
Nope.
Okay.
LeBron, to his credit, has been the absolute best player on every single championship he's won. Every single championship.
So now all of a sudden we have nuance now.
There's been nuance.
There's always been nuance.
No, hold on. Because it's like when we have the debate about LeBron and Jordan, right? We bring nuance and then y'all push back, right?
I'm not pushing back. I can say the same thing about
hold on.
Jordan.
Y'all most people push back and they get to the point where that's where the rings come in, right? So like you give Jordan the edge because he has more rings. So now when we having this conversation now, when we put Kobe and LeBron against each other, now when we get to the ring conversation, now all of a sudden there's nuance. Well, these championships he got with Shaq and these championships here was because X, Y, and Z. It's like none of that nuance was in play. None of that nuance makes it. Hold on. No, because Morgan like pushed back when I brought in the nuance of the fact that Jordan was coached by Phil Jackson, and then like he pushed back. Well, it's like, well, no one knew who Phil Jackson was. It's like all of a
I
sudden
wasn't
this
pushing
nuance.
back. I was stating a fact. So like LeBron, if LeBron had have won, like we know Coach Spoelstra in Miami is great, not just because he won those titles in Miami, but after LeBron left, he still has been consistently great with whoever's there. So he's proven himself as a great coach with or without LeBron. It started with LeBron, but he proved himself after LeBron too. Phil Jackson would have done the same thing. He just happened to
do the same thing.
once he finished coaching the Bulls, then he ended up coaching the Lakers. So now he's got 11 ships. He played with he has three of the, you could argue.
And Kobe wasn't Kobe. Kobe wasn't Kobe yet when Phil Jackson came over to coach. They brought Shaq over.
You can make an easy argument that Phil Jackson has coached three of the best and most dominant players in NBA history. Top 10. Shaq is top. If Shaq's not in your top 10 basketball players of all time, that's weird. Kobe and Jordan should be in there. He coached all of them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's like so one of the things I would say about LeBron when he goes to different teams, LeBron is the one that's making the determination about how much he needs coaching. Because if he felt like he needed coaching like that, then you go to the best coach available, which was Greg Popovich in San Antonio. If he wanted to go to win some ships and learn how to do it, he could have went to Greg Popovich, and they definitely, if LeBron's as great as we think he is, which we all believe he is, he could have won with Greg Popovich. And then he'd have the same thing and say, well, he played for Greg Popovich. LeBron didn't feel like he needed that, obviously. He just felt like he needed other players to help him bolster what he needed to get done on the court for the way that he plays basketball, because there's a formula for LeBron and how he wins the championships. I need shooters around me and somebody else that can close a game. That's what he's looking for. D-Wade is a closer. So that's one of the reasons he went. I would argue the biggest reason they didn't win that first championship in Dallas, one, is because LeBron choked, and two, because they couldn't figure out who was going to close the game. Between D-Wade and LeBron, they couldn't figure out who was going to be the closer. The next year, they didn't have that problem, and they won. You know what I'm saying? Now, when it came to Cleveland, the closer is Kyrie. He showed us that in the finals. He's a closer. He's a killer. LeBron's not a natural killer. He can turn into one, but he's not a natural killer. You know what I'm saying? And for a lot of people, that's the reason they're not going to put LeBron over Jordan, because LeBron is not a natural killer. But for people that love LeBron, they love his play style and say he's going to make the right play. But for a lot of people, that right play is him not wanting the pressure. Because we watched for years. Commentators have talked about it, and all of us have talked about the fact that at the end of a game, LeBron could go to the basket and get fouled at will almost anytime he wants and go to the free throw line and win the game. But he's failed at doing that so many times that we watched him not do it. When the Spurs first played him, when they didn't guard him on purpose. Like, that's what I'm saying. If you want to get into the nuance of the players, Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and what their strengths and weaknesses are, Michael Jordan is a better scorer than LeBron James. If you can make the argument to say, okay, LeBron shoots a 3-point shot better. But then you have to bring in more nuance to say, well, the game is completely different than it was when Michael Jordan was playing it. Nobody shot threes like that. Nowadays, you shoot 20, 30 threes a game. In the NBA back then, you shot 8. You know what I'm saying? Like 8 was a lot of threes in the game in the NBA back then. So that
unless your job was to shoot threes.
Yes. So and really, we have 3-and-D players now. Back then, they weren't even 3-and-D. Like Steve Kerr's not a 3-and-D player. He's a 3-point shooter. He's a spot-up 3-point shooter, and the best has ever done it by percentages. But that's not like a 3-and-D player. The league was different. Like back when you played with Magic and Bird, there's no reason to guard the 3-point line. Nobody rushed out there to try to block them from shooting threes because nobody was going to shoot no threes. You pack the paint and stop people from doing about it. So that I'm going to move on so we can get to the list, only because to me, we need to have a full basketball conversation to talk about the nuance of basketball. And I would definitely want to do it when Danny gets back on, because we had a conversation on Mike's podcast about it. And I was telling him, like, you cannot compare when it comes to overall basketball and what you can take away from each player. What are you going to take away from Michael Jordan? You gonna let him shoot the three and leave him open to shoot the three? No. If you leave him open in the mid range, it's over. If he gets to the basket, you know it's over for you. So if you go, okay, who's better on offense and who's better on defense? To me, watching them play, LeBron James is one of the best chase down blockers of all time, and he's versatile enough and fast enough to be able to guard a lot of different positions. But that does not mean he plays one-on-one as well as Michael Jordan does, and Michael Jordan definitely plays the passing lanes better. So now, again, we're talking about nuance again. Who do you choose in that situation? For me, it's easy looking at them play basketball. Michael Jordan was a talent like we haven't seen, and so was LeBron James. But if I have to give an edge to somebody, Michael Jordan literally dominated an entire era. He dominated an entire decade of basketball where he kept people from titles, really good players from titles. LeBron James can't say that. So to me, that it's not even a debate. You know what I'm saying? And not to mention, LeBron has gone to get help and still lost more than he won. He literally set out to get the teams and the players that he wanted, and he still lost more than he won. While Mike won 6 in a freaking row. How is that a debate? How? Where is it? Where's the debate at? That's what I don't understand. That's why I keep saying the conversation is crazy to me.
I understand I understand the reasoning why there's a debate. I just don't think like either if you and I said this to Danny, like if you think LeBron is the GOAT, okay.
I can't say that either.
If you want to have an in-depth, nuanced discussion about it, cool. But it's not going to matter because you can bring every number and statistic and stat and championship. But if you think this man who you watched, who you enjoy is the GOAT, that's fine. I do it all the time with Tom Brady. People sit there and try to argue with me that Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback. I'd be sitting there like, okay, cool. Let's go through stats and let's figure this out. Once we go through the stats, if you still think Patrick Mahomes is the greatest, I walk away. I don't get frustrated with this anymore. Too old for this.
As an overall talent, this is the conversation between Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. As an overall talent, I don't think we've seen anything like Patrick Mahomes, but he can't. His resume can't.
That's not true, though.
It's too early.
I'm not. That's a different argument. Not going to get into it. Let's do the list. I want to get
into it. We can definitely argue that.
I could argue that. That's a different list, man. That's a different argument.
You don't want to argue that.
Listen. I could do it all day, bro.
You don't want to argue.
I can do it all day.
Hey guys, I gotta. This has been real. I gotta take off, but I really enjoyed the convo.
Of course, man. Danny should have been on here. He tried to run, but it's all good. No, I'm just joking. His daughter's birthday tonight, so he had to.
Happy birthday!
Yeah. His oldest baby is her birthday tonight, so I'm sure he's out, entertaining the fam. Let's do this list, bro, and then we might have to circle back to it. You know what I'm saying, on another.
I was trying to get y'all off of it, but y'all didn't want to leave it. So
man.
I was trying.
You already know.
I was like, yo, let's get to the list. No, I got to say my thing about Michael Jordan.
No, damn it.
I
don't know why you're still going back and forth with this, man. It's not even worth it.
Who's going first, though? I'll go first. I don't care.
All right, peace, y'all.
All right,
I don't want to rush this list, man.
What you mean you don't want to rush it?
I'm just saying, like, Go ahead.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, we can come back to it. It don't matter. Danny said he was going to send his in, but I don't know that he had time. But I mean, so my top 5, like I said, we can do it again, or because my god sister has said she's a real estate agent, and I believe very much so what she's doing to help with this problem. So I would love to have her on for the show to do that one day too.
I mean, we can talk about it and then we can circle back and talk about it again at the start of next show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it don't matter.
Go ahead. Do your list.
So, I mean, my 5 are number 5. I got saving, of course, but I mean, mine are it's saving and not kind of explain what I mean. So, like, of course, like regular, like learning how to save, but also like living within your means, and that's not easy. Especially in the world that we live in today. Especially we got DoorDash and we got all kinds of stuff to try to draw that away. So it's hard to learn to like save and budget and live within what you can afford. But that's a huge key, to the wealth. Number 4, investing. And I mean that in a sense of, because this is coming up to what my number 2 is. Investing personally, but also like when I think about it, so in the micro investing, but also in the macro. And in the macro, I mean like if we as African Americans, like, I'm saying, millionaires and the billionaires among us, if we stop looking to the government to change the hood,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? If we start reinvesting and buying out the hood and changing those conditions ourselves, it can help. You know what I'm saying? So I mean it in a micro and a macro. Number 3, home ownership, huge. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the biggest way to pass wealth in America. It's one of the reasons the wealth gap is there in the first place. Home ownership is a huge deal, and we know as African Americans we're behind the 8 ball for a myriad of reasons that we definitely got to circle back to it so we can get into the actual reasons for these things. But home ownership is another one. Number 2, education. To me, like early economic education, like kind of mentorship, so that you can know before you get to college what credit is, what it means, what it can mean for your future, but also like if you can, the earlier you can learn those things, the better for you as a whole. Because I don't care if you're in the hood or wherever you're from, if somebody can put you on the game early so that you peep game, you know what I'm saying, you can move a whole lot differently and make a lot better financial decisions than you would have otherwise. And we watch all these people, all these rappers that we look up to have all done that. You know what I'm saying? They get out of the hood, somebody puts them on the game, and now you got Jay-Z that's not rich just because of his money. He's got more rich off of the business deals that he's made because of education and mentorship that he's picked up from other people that know the game and to put him on to it. So education to me is a huge deal. And number 1, reparations, man. There's no way for that not to be my number 1. And it's not because I'm looking to the government, but it's because it's that huge. That literally is the disparity on purpose. You know what I'm saying? The only reason that black wealth is not a thing and the only reason the wealth gap exists is because reparations does not exist and because of all the other programs we got excluded from on purpose due to racism. So reparations is number 1 only for that reason. It's not because it's not you like looking for a handout and all that bullcrap. Like we could have a whole show about reparations. And I'll do it with somebody that opposes it. But yeah, those are my 5.
Okay. I think I did mine a little different, but I'm just gonna go with it.
All right.
Number 5. A change in the cultural narrative regarding careers. What that means is a lot of black people think the only way to become wealthy is to be like a ball player or a doctor or a lawyer. There's like a very narrow thought process or focus when it comes to what type of careers bring wealth. When you could be an investment banker, you could be, heck, I didn't even know, like I tell people all the time, when I first started dating my wife, when we first started dating, she was a project manager. I didn't even really know what a project manager did. And I was already like, I was 29, 28 when we first started dating. I had no idea what a project manager is. So I think we need to widen our ideas behind. Yeah, we just need to widen ideas around what you can do to become financially successful in a career. Number 4, prioritization of hiring black professionals and black-owned businesses. Basically, if you are a black-owned business owner, you should first and foremost be hiring black people, in my opinion. Like they should be at the front of the line.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how to frame that for the. I might not even do a poll this week.
Yeah, I think we should. That's what I'm saying. We could talk now.
It's hard to frame
now
that.
And then. This what I'm saying is we could talk now, and then maybe do a double one next week where we get Danny's list, and then I'm sure Roxy has thoughts on this. We could talk about that in the first half of the next show, and then do our top 5 for the next week. For next week's top 5 after. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just trying to, yeah, I got you. I'm just trying to think of like
Okay.
how to
Don't worry about the poll.
Go ahead.
Hold on. All right, let me finish. We need more companies established, owned, created, and supported by Black people. Companies, businesses, same thing. Especially within our own community. Like, I mean, I know it's kind of cliche, but like, you really shouldn't see so many people from outside your neighborhood and outside your culture propping up stores in the hood or in the Black neighborhood. And then just companies in general, like, you know, there should be more, just narrowing the focus right now to like comic books. There should be way more like larger companies that are hiring Black people, and like we should just be taking care of each other on a professional level, like prioritizing each other. Number 2,
I agree with that.
Creating the importance in education itself. It seems like, you know, it's just not an important thing to a lot of people, because a lot of people right now are like, oh, I can learn that on YouTube, or, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a value in education that has seemingly been lost, especially like higher education. I know there are a lot of people who are against college, but I do think college is valuable. It doesn't necessarily need to be a 4-year school, but a certain amount of higher education is necessary, especially depending on what you want to do.
Okay.
And then number 1 is not reparations. Sorry, it's financial literacy. And when I talk about financial literacy, it's funny. I had a conversation with my wife about this, but my interpretation of financial literacy is I think that there are a lot of African Americans, while they are, you know, they believe, you know, you save your money in a bank account, and that's, if you save enough money, eventually wealth will come. But there's so much more involved. You know, you can get involved with stocks, bonds, you know, life insurance, all the other stuff. There are ways to build wealth and, you know, in financial growth through finance and the understanding of what's involved in things like that. So that's my top 5.
I agree. I think
yes, compound interest, stuff like that. Like,
yeah, that's what goes into mine for education. Like, I think the earlier, like somebody said it up here.
Well, see, that's why I split it though. See, to me, there's education, because there are a lot of Black people that are just uneducated, and I don't mean that like in a negative way. I just mean that in a, well, you know, you don't have a full education, like you weren't able to.
Yes. I mean, that's a part of it, but I think whether you get it in college or, being taught early on, like my best friend did a dope thing with his kids to teach them how credit works. You know what I'm saying? Like I think his daughter's 15, maybe 14, 15. His son is, I think, 12, something like that. But he showed them how credit works this early. You know what I'm saying? Because these lessons are invaluable. You know what I'm saying? There's things that I taught my daughter and my nieces that there's things that I taught my daughter and my nieces that I think hands-on, you know what I'm saying, a way to teach them hands-on are things that you won't forget. And it sticks in a different way. And I agree with you, you know what I'm saying? Like going to school, I think one of the things that Killer Mike talks about a lot is it's financial literacy, but also like trade schools.
But that's what I meant when I talk about higher learning, though.
Yeah, because everybody's not built for that. You know, everybody's not built for the 4 year. Like I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not built for 4 year or whatever. Some people just because there are people out there that are just naturally good with their hands, but because they
Right.
don't have you need an entire. It's an entire mentality like system change that has to happen.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know what I'm saying? And I think and it doesn't. I don't think it has to happen in like complete mass. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like all the black people like all of a sudden got a mind meld and do what I'm saying, this same thing. But I think that it's because I definitely believe in each one teach one, because everybody that you can empower to help them think a little bit differently about a situation or approach it differently, you can change that person's life. Because and the way you know that is because the rappers and stuff that we look that a lot of people look up to in the culture, you know what I'm saying, they did grow up in the streets, they were slinging cane, they were violent, they were whatever. But once they leave that, once they have the money to leave that lifestyle, they're not returning to it. You see what I'm saying? So like one of the biggest reasons that I have an issue when people peg black people as anything, the stupid stereotypes that we get all the time: violent, dumb, shiftless, all these stupid, retarded, behind ways of thinking about any group of people. We know for black people, it's just to make sure that you stay on the bottom of the caste system in America. But if you're able to get to these kids to put them on the game early, when they leave, when they get out of that, nobody grows up and says, you know what, I want to fight. I want to be in fights every day. You know what I'm saying? I want to be in fights every day, and I want to scare people when I walk past them, and I want a gun because the gun's a cool thing to do. You get that based on society and the environment that you're in. That's why you don't see that type of BS in life. That's just a common sense thing that violence follows poverty. You know what I'm saying? I don't care where you are on earth. If people are poor there, you're more prone to violence because you don't have the things that you would regularly want. So you're going to be more prone to taking it in other ways. You know what I'm saying? Like that's common sense.
So I'll say this about financial literacy and stuff like that intermingling with general education. I think our teachers have enough on their plate that it shouldn't be their job to do that as well. Like, I understand if they want to have a financial literacy class available for a kid to take, that's fine. But there should be avenues outside of the school that a child, a teenager, whatever, can go and learn easily. Let me rephrase it. Easily accessible avenues where a kid can go and learn the information that they need to better themselves and understand more about the world that's ahead of them. Because a lot of teenagers don't understand how difficult like adult life is. Like they're so zero laser focused in, and I don't know if it's different like now. Like I'm gonna age myself right now. I don't know if it's different now, but I do think back when I was growing up, like not going to college amongst my friends, you get looked at differently. Like it would be like, really? Like you're not going to school? Like what you doing? Like it was either you going to college or you just going, you want to be like, a trade, whatever, or you going into the military. You know what I mean? But I feel like the sense now is that it's just a different. It's just, sorry, I just saw Danny's number one.
Wow.
I can't with this dude.
Wow. We're gonna have to circle back because I need to fuss at him about that.
But I think there's a certain level of just like kind of the forcing maturation in a productive way that needs to be done with the younger generation. You know what I mean? And I think that's why I think a lot of kids need to go to college and I don't mean to waste money, but I mean, when you go to college, and I've had this conversation with about a bunch of people. I'm not saying everybody needs to go to college, but you need to have a plan when you graduate. And I think a lot of kids don't have plans. A lot of kids either don't care enough or they don't know their options.
I think that I'm gonna say this before I'm gonna say it before I
That's true.
look at Brevin's comment, because I want to make sure I can say it before I get ready to answer that or agree or um uh well, never mind. I forgot now what I was about to say. That's why I try to do that. That's the problem with poverty, though. Poverty makes it
Yeah, I
so.
mean, poverty is the biggest issue right now. I mean, it is pretty much the crux of it. Like, if you're a kid who,
Yeah,
whose mother is working like 2-3 jobs, you probably don't have the time, to, or the ability to go to certain places that will help you to better yourself on a higher financial level or educational level. So, like, I understand that, and that's almost a whole different, that's almost a whole different uh problem in and of itself.
it is,
You
but
know,
it's
it is, like you said, it's a terrible cycle.
it is, and it's because I was gonna say, for what you were saying about education, the foundation for that has to be built at home. You know what I'm saying? More than anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, because the parents are going to be the one to drive that ship. But if their parents are driving that ship in the hood, because some of this comes down to the kids themselves, and then like figuring out what motivates kids, because all of us aren't motivated by the same things. All of us have different strengths and weaknesses, even within the same family. So you have to figure out what motivates your kid, what drives them, what they're naturally good at, those type of things like that. And that's not easy to do, especially when you're struggling yourself, trying to keep your head above water.
But you know what, though?
With
Even
that.
with the motivation thing, I think every kid is motivated by getting money. And I
I
think
agree,
the
bro.
best thing to do is, huh?
No, I was saying I agree with Brevin. I'm still listening to you.
I think the best thing to do is find out what the kid likes to do and find out a way for
Exactly.
them to get money. If
To
you can find
monetize
a
it.
way to get those two things,
Yep.
and I don't mean just like, oh, they like to play ball. I mean, okay, you're good at math. Okay, cool. You think about, being an investment banker or something like that. Like, you do this, you can make X amount of money. You show them a different viewpoint. Like, hey, if you do this, this is how much money you could possibly make.
Especially if it's a tangible example. You know what I'm saying? Like it goes a long way to take it from, especially because when I think about all of these things, I'm thinking about it from the hood out, because the hood was literally made, you know what I'm saying, for that reason. It's not designed for you to do the things that we're talking about right now in the
Right.
hood, because you're too busy trying to survive. So, and people don't understand to put that into context. What is that? All Day and a Night? Let me see if that's the name of that movie. There was a really good movie on Netflix that I told people when it came out. Hold on.
But even in the hood, like, if you start at the base level of getting an education, right?
Yep, that's what it was. All Day and a
If a
Night.
parent, even if a parent is struggling to, to work all day, if the kid's focus is to be educated, like, there are kids that don't care and there are kids that care. Like,
Correct.
I've seen that, like, firsthand.
100%. Yeah.
And it's really difficult to get kids that don't care about getting an education to care,
Oh
unless
yeah, no. But
unless
but
you
that's what I'm saying. I think in those situations, when I'm racking my brain, I'm trying to think about it from that perspective, because that's not. So when I have this conversation, I don't bracket in just black people, because that would allude that the issue is with black people. So when I think about it, I'm thinking about it on a macro back to the micro. You know what I'm saying? Because black kids are not the only kids that you have some kids that are very interested in education and some that are not. That's all kids. I don't care who they are. What makes the difference is usually culture and their family structure, like how things are set up, and of course, if there's poverty. Like, you know, in other cultures, how many movies have we watched, and how many, if you know people from other cultures, how many of us know somebody that's like from a family that's got an Asian background or African background, or somebody that like literally they're from a different culture altogether. I'm not talking about African Americans. I'm talking about like my god brother that's from Ghana. There is no, of course they still have people that aren't interested in education or whatever, but in those families, like, you know, the stereotype for Nigerian parents, you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of them will tell you that, and that is the story.
That's Jamaican parents too.
That's what I'm saying, and it's not a game. It is not a game. If you don't like it, you're not gonna be here. You know what I'm saying? But these are your options, though. You know what I'm saying? And there are Asian parents that are that same way. There ain't no options, my guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there is none of that. What you talk about out there, that ain't an option for you. And if you want to go out there and do that, you're not gonna do it in this house. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, like, it comes down to culture. It comes down to parents, and all of that stuff goes together. But the reason that it's so egregious in the hood is because those situations and the circumstances in the hood were literally created to make sure that happened. You know what I'm saying? To make it harder for you to have a situation where, you know, Nipsey can come back to the hood and show you that you can build right here in the same hood that I came up in with all these issues, and you can make it out of here, and you still got people that's gonna hate. You know what I'm saying? That's the fine line.
Can I point out something though? Even so, yes, the Caribbean parents and the Asian and all that, they're like, yeah, lawyer, doctor, you know, those,
and they're not playing with you.
And I understand that, like, because those that, like, if you become a doctor, you are more than likely going to be making money. There ain't a ton of like broke doctors.
No, that ain't a thing.
Now there might be some broke lawyers, but there ain't a ton of broke doctors. So, like, I get it. And that's funny. I had this conversation with my friend who is a doctor, and he talked about how, like, his mother was like he talked about how, like, with his kid, he was like, look, you know, I got a friend who's a doctor and a dentist, and they both kind of agreed they want their kid to be involved in something with the sciences, like doctors or something like that, because it's a guaranteed paycheck.
100%.
I think that there is a whole world out there of careers where you can make money. You know what I mean? Like, you can make money. You can make $100K being a project manager.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of black kids that have no clue what being a project manager. And I only 100%. Use project manager because I didn't know.
And 100%.
And so, like, there's a whole world.
But that goes.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I agree with you 100%. That goes back into why I had. So that's why I'm saying it was hard to put things in one capsule. So when I said education, like, what I really mean is early education, is because if kids are exposed to this stuff early, it never leaves. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, you know the biblical principle, you know what I'm saying? Train up a child in the way they go. When they get old, they won't depart from it. You can want to veer and go left when you know what I'm saying? You can want to go left when you're told to go right all you want. But there are certain things that the earlier you learn them, the more it sticks. And like I remember, I was just watching Breakfast Club yesterday, and listened to an interview with Jim Jones, and like one of his photographer or something was choking, and Jim Jones was there. His photographer was choking. They didn't call 911. They called Jim and was like, yo, bro. They called Jim and was like, yo, old buddy's choking. And Jim was like, bro, why y'all ain't call the ambulance or whatever? But he goes over there and does CPR. He does a Heimlich. I'm sorry. He goes and does a Heimlich on his boy and saves his life. Like, his boy was choking out right there. But they were like, bro, you just knew how to do, you know what I'm saying, the Heimlich like that. He said, I learned when I was 12 because my daughter, my sister had special needs, and we needed to be able to know these things to help her. Jim Jones is older than I am. I'm about to turn 38. Jim Jones is at least in his 40s, but he said it's literally riding a bike. He didn't have to think. You see what I'm saying? There was no thinking. You know what I'm saying? So if we can get our kids to be exposed to the things like what you're talking about, like when I was growing up, I was in a program called MSN. You know what I'm saying? That it was a group for black students. You know what I'm saying? And we had other outlets, like we took trips places. We went to the Hayti Heritage Center. We went on field trips, during the year, and we got taught alternative things outside of what was just being taught in the classroom. That crap has been. I've thought back on that a lot of times in my life and thought about how integral that is, because it allowed me to see things that I would not have otherwise seen. But another reason that the system is set up to do something different in this country is because those programs aren't going to be offered by the government in any way, shape, or form. Not to mention, the government's not going to put money into those things to make sure that everybody has the same opportunities. That's how it's a rigged system. There's no reason for the kids in the hood should be the first ones to have those opportunities. You know what I'm saying? Like, they should be the first. There's a bigger priority for them to be able to see there's a world outside of this. So for nobody to be investing in that as a government, but saying that you care about people, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's a concerted effort to make sure people stay in their station and just continue to roll over and stay. Because I'm definitely like you. We need to be able to show them different places that they can make money. But I also believe in very strongly, if you can figure out what drives this kid, what their natural talent is, and teach them how to. It doesn't even have to be necessarily. Well, you do need to teach them how to monetize it, because that's probably where their career is, where their passion is probably where their career is anyway. You can go on. I don't want my kid to be a worker bee. I don't want them to be a drone. You know what I'm saying? Like, if whatever's in your heart to go do, you were given that talent, in my opinion, by God, to go and accomplish that thing and make your money and your living doing it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't mind if you're a worker bee, as long as you making money. Like, if you make if you a six-figure worker bee, you work your bee off.
No, I know, but for me,
you can do your passion on the side, dude.
No, for me personally, that's what I'm saying. Like right now, you know what I'm saying? Find you a way to get in and have a foundation so that you can provide for yourself and for your family, but be building your dream on the side. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be doing the same thing. Use that main as the way to filter into, you know what I'm saying, and to help you build the foundation for what it is that you really are passionate about and really want to do. I believe in both. You need to invest in both. You know what I'm saying? You need to invest in the fact that you have a steady job that can pay all your bills, but also don't resign yourself to the things that you're naturally good at and your dreams and the things that you had in your heart in the beginning, because more than likely that's where your money really is. You know what I'm saying? You just have to find a way to make that path to go and do whatever it is that you already want to do. But again, when I think about these ideas, I think about it from because they're the ones that need it the most, because we can come to them with all the answers until they don't see it, and if they don't believe it, you know what I'm saying, it's a moot point. And it's not because they're inferior. It's because of, you know what I'm saying? It's not because they're inferior. It's not because they came out the womb like that. It's none of that, because that doesn't make any sense. That makes about the same sense as a kid being racist. There's no such thing. If that kid ends up being racist, somebody somewhere or some condition that they saw taught them to think differently about somebody with a different color. There's no logic to that whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? To being like, oh, that person's lighter skinned than I am, so I'm obviously better than they are. Nah. That's not a thing. There's nothing logical about that whatsoever. So it's the same way in the hood. Like, those kids would not be hood, ratchet, ghetto, any of those things if they were not in that condition. So we can figure out a way to try to infuse life into those conditions. That's how you could change things. And it's not always easy, because I mean, I've done it before. You know what I'm saying? Gone into the hood, taught, prayed, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? In the hood, and it sticks sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? You can't reach everybody.
Well, I mean, I'm not really talking about reaching everybody. I'm just talking about, like, having wealthy Black people, and we have to 100%. And a big part of wealth is that it endures. Yep. And then it passes to the next generation and stuff. And
that's the thing that we've always been behind on. Yeah,
right. And that's where we have to get to the point of, making sure when we're gone, our kids are able to benefit from the work that we've done. I mean, I'm hoping, God willing, he becomes something great. I'm gonna make sure that it's set up that my son, my wife, my kids will continue to make money off of it in perpetuity. as
Yeah.
long as they can. As long as they manage it well, they can make money off of it.
Yeah.
And I think
I
we need
suppose.
to do a better job of that, which is why, we have that conversation before. We had that conversation before about like if Marvel came up to you and was like, "Hey, I want to buy Lumberjacks off you." Like, I mean, I joke, but I really wouldn't want to give up Heat. It would have to be a very specific contract. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, y'all could pay me to make Heat, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it better. I'm gonna make a higher portion of the money. And after a certain amount of time, that copyright is null and void, and we got to redo this contract, or I keep the rights. It got to be something crazy.
So
But
that's
just
what I'm saying. I can only
just
speak for
having
me.
like something from us, because I was really frustrated, and I get it because you make money.
Mhm.
But when the Fubu guys when they sold Fubu, I was really frustrated with that because I was like, "Yo, that was us."
Yeah.
And then they sold it, and then now nobody been wearing Fubu for years,
Yeah.
for
I agree
decades,
with you. I
and it
agree
was
with you.
really frustrating for them to base. I won't use the term sellout, but because they
No, I
got their
got
money.
you. I got you because it was like when Killer Mike did. I think he was on Netflix with that show where Killer Mike went like city to city trying to find. He said he was going to survive on only black owned businesses within that
Yeah, I
city.
watched that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like, and we again, it's two pronged. You know what I'm saying. A lot of it is like there's a pastor named Miles Monroe that he was. Yeah, trigger warning. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. There's a pastor named Miles Monroe that talked about like there is, and I very much so believe this is cultural because again, our brothers that are from other nations, Africa, Jamaica, wherever they're from, have a different mentality about things. Like uh, I think Miles Monroe was with some um, friends or business partners or something like Asia or something like that. And they would just talk about in the mentality, like, if you move into a new city, um, a lot of people go looking for who they can go work for. Uh, when Asian people move into a city, they're looking for where they can open a business. You see what I'm saying? It's a complete mentality difference. You know what I'm saying? And one group is looking for who for, and one group is looking for who. How can we? You know what I'm saying? How can we start a business going to be an infrastructure for us? And
Yeah,
there are a
I've
lot.
had that conversation with my daughters a bunch of times about how like y'all should be, you guys need to be. You don't have to go get jobs from somebody. Like I tell people all the time, if I could go back in time to when I graduated from SCAD, I would just start my business literally as soon as I graduated. Like
Yeah,
started Businessly Stoked and just ran with it. Forget trying to get jobs or whatever. I would have just been like, all right, I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. I'm my own boss. I'm gonna keep it going. Like
yeah,
that's what we need more of that. And I understand not everybody's built to be an
yeah.
entrepreneur.
Everybody's not built for it, but
Everybody's not
there
built,
are
but there's a
way
lot of people that do.
exactly. There are way more of us out there that are built for it, but we're trapped by um, our own mind in what we think we can do and what we don't think we could do. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think the things you're referring to are linked to slave trauma. The difference in between our African brothers and sisters. I've heard and read um, similar. You know what I'm saying? But it's also just social conditioning of us living in America and that being the thought. Like you're supposed to go work for somebody else. Because I know for me personally, mm-mm. You know what I'm saying? Like I again, my goal is to like so I've said this before and I think I've said it as a testimony. Like for those who know that my son has special needs, we went through an insanely rough time for a lot of years. Me and his mom, um, and I knew that I wanted different. But when the thought arose for me to go back to school, I was like, I can't. Like I literally, before I even got the thought out of my head, I was like, I can't because As soon as I get ready to start going to class, something's gonna happen with Sean, and I'm gonna have to leave class. I'm gonna end up failing this class, or have to withdraw, or have to drop it, and I'm gonna have to start over, and I'm gonna be then wasted that money because if something happens to him, I have to be there. I got to go home. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, there's no way that I'm gonna be able to go to school and finish. And it was literally a fear of mine to the point that I had tears. Like I was at discount. I will never forget where I was and all that. I was at Discount Tires, sitting there waiting on him to go over there and start working on my car, sitting on a stool, and I had the thought to go back to school, and I was like, man, I can't because this is gonna happen, whatever. At a certain point, I was like, and I had this long conversation with myself in my head, like, it's not because you're too dumb, but I was questioning myself, like, I mean, are you even smart enough to go back and do that? Which I knew I was, but you go through your own mental struggles, and suppose I had not have gotten over that, and there's a lot of us that don't. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have that conversation and you just stay where you at because you just don't see another way out. That's why I like that movie All Day and a Night on Netflix. For those who haven't seen it, I think that movie does an incredible job of taking you inside somebody who's from the hood, in the hood, that came up in a certain way, and how hard it would be for you to actually leave that lifestyle if that's all you know. You know what I'm saying? If that's all you know and that's all you see around you, why would you choose to do something else, especially if nobody else showed you there's something else to do? You see what I'm saying? If nobody around you is showing you anything different, why are you going to be the unicorn? That's not natural. It doesn't normally happen. You know what I'm saying? So, or like Ozarks. For those who I was gonna touch on that, but I'll give people another week before I get into that. Ozark is another great example of that. Like the Langmore family. For those who watch, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're black, white, whatever. That's what Fred Hampton was getting at. But again, that's another podcast. The plight is the same. The thought process is the same because the ultimate battle is still between the rich and the poor. That's still the ultimate battle. Racially in this country, we already know what's up. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's why we're gonna have to circle back to it. But for me, personally,
I do want to touch on reparations with you though.
Yeah, we will, because Brandon made a comment, and I definitely would love to have that conversation because.
So I'm not against reparations. In my mind, I just know that's never gonna happen.
I don't disagree with you,
but I think to me, if they said we ain't giving y'all money, we're not giving you cash.
Yeah.
But I would be like, free education.
Correct.
Whatever college are you choosing.
If they did that,
everybody.
If they did that, it would be great. But I would really.
But that essentially can level the playing field on a fundamental level for the next generation.
Nah.
You don't think it can help level the playing field?
Okay. All right. Yeah. I was gonna say absolutely not. No.
Well, you have to look at you. It's a long game thing in my mind because, hold on, I'm not saying that.
He's not saying it's not possible. He's saying
I did not say it's not.
He's not saying it's not possible. He says he doesn't think it's ever going to happen. And I can't say I disagree. I can't say I disagree.
I think that's a
but I think the reason is because, again, America, by and large, is a caste system more so than it is anything else. And that is the reason that reparations are going to be fought tooth and nail, because the conversation always gets framed as, well, I didn't do that to you, which that's why I'm saying, like, I got to make sure I stay in the right lane, you know what I'm saying, or whatever.
Let's remember everybody is college bound. Let's remember not everybody's. Listen, there are a lot of kids who ain't going to college because they can't afford it. I'm not saying everybody.
Well, there's a lot of money out there now if you want to.
Hold on. The problem with that is that you can only make public education free. Then all of a sudden, private.
Correct. Because college Colleges already cost too much for no reason at all.
For no
reason at all. There's no reason any college should cost $20,000 a year. Nothing there is worth it.
I went to art school and it is not.
If you went to SCAD, I can't imagine. You see what I'm saying? But my point is, it ain't worth that. You see what I'm saying? It is not worth that. It is that,
I'm
that's
trying not
another.
to burn any bridges. I'm not answering that question.
No, look. All
I'm
I'm
not
saying is,
burning any bridges.
all I'm saying
No
is,
burned bridges here.
another one of the reasons that there's such an issue right now with the wealth gap is because the boomers were given. They like to talk about what we saying we want handouts when they literally got handouts. You know what I'm saying? Like the way that you got where you are is the handouts. The GI Bill, after the Great Depression, all the money that literally just got handed out for you to go get houses. Not black folks. Let's not play ourselves. But you know what I'm saying? Like all of that money just got handed out and dished out, and that's how you got ahead. Not to mention the fact that back then you only needed one income in the household. You only needed one job. You needed one job, and you could afford a house. You could afford a house, 2 cars. You could afford vacations. You could have somebody. You didn't need daycare. You know what I'm saying? The generations were different, and everything about everything was different back at that time period. But nowadays, everything has skyrocketed to levels that it just should not be. School, especially, is one of the top ones. You know what I'm
Brevin,
saying?
I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, Brevin. I'm a cynic sometimes, and I'm a cynic about that. Like, to me, reparations doesn't happen because reparations requires an admission of guilt,
Yes,
and
I agree
we
with that.
for the government, because this is the government we talking about.
It's not going to happen with the blood that's in there. I'll say that.
Yeah,
The generation that's in there.
three,
Mitch McConnell,
4 generations.
Mitch
maybe.
McConnell, Pelosi, Schumer. You know,
And they're
all
teaching their kids their philosophies.
yes,
So,
but if so, the key to that passing is our generation and the generation behind us.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to talk maybe 2 or 3 generations, I think it may be a possibility, but
I'm not going to say I don't think it's possible
I
in my
can't see
lifetime.
the government on any level saying, you know what, we were wrong, and here's some money because we were wrong.
Well, they've done it. They've done it for everybody else.
For black people.
Yeah, okay. I'm about to say. I mean, we know that like literally documented. Yeah,
because
but that's
well,
because of the caste system, and they need to
but
make
we're talking
sure that
about
it's
a
very
country,
clear who the
the
bottom
country
is.
that is founded on the work that black people did in slavery
And inventions.
All that. Because you can talk to a lot of these people and they're like, hey, listen, you know what? You got, you know, hold on. What about reparations? What about instead of about paying off our once again, reparations requires the government to say we were wrong and I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I think they're talking about it from a perspective of like what should reparations look like.
Oh,
so
that's a different story.
Let me say that for me personally, I would be offended if the government was to say we're gonna give you reparations, but we're gonna give it to you in programs. I would be offended.
I'd be offended too.
And the reason is because that means you're willing to hand out money to anybody else you want, but we're too, you know what I'm saying? Like we're too stupid to know what to do with our own money if you put it in our hands. You know what I'm saying? And that is an insult, and that deserves to get punched in the face.
Like I said, Brevin, I'm a cynic. I'll believe it when I see it. I've lived way too long. I just don't see it. Like, I understand what you're saying. The government apologized, but they ain't really apologize.
The only real apology is to pay. That's why MLK. That's why MLK said. So that's another. See, that's what I'm saying. This MLK Day, I didn't say much, and the reason is because if MLK Day every year pisses me off. Usually, I remember what MLK was, and I remember what they have attempted to make him into, and that makes me upset. You know what I'm saying? Because the only thing you ever hear on MLK Day is he taught us all to strive and hold hands and whatever else they'd be talking about. And MLK was not on that. You know what I'm saying? They will use that one thing that he said because they want to keep the peace. I say this all the time. As long as you stay dreaming, you know what I'm saying, you don't realize what's actually going on as long as you sleep. Right? So that's why they want us to continue in the dream, because as long as you're dreaming, you're not paying attention to what's actually going on. And that's what America wants by and large. They want to pacify and put conversations away versus actually having conversations to pushing. Like, there's no more kicking the can down the road. I can't wait for people to finish reading Lumberjacks and Animus, and I can't wait for people to get the next 2 comics.
I didn't say we should stop fighting. I never say stop fighting. I'm just saying I believe it when I see it.
All he's saying is that he's cynical, as am I.
I'm not always cynical, but I'm cynical about anything that has to do with the government helping Black people on a larger scale than they normally would.
Yeah, I mean, again, to me, the only apology is reparation. Like, don't tell me you're sorry without doing something to show you're sorry. It's like you telling your wife, "I'll never cheat again," but you doing all the same things that you were doing when you got caught cheating.
And even if they did give us reparations, I can see it now.
They changed something to make it where
it'd be like $150.
Yeah,
to everybody.
They give you a reparation check.
Oh, you're not happy?
They give you a reparation check, and it'd be like, here's $10,000. I hope this helps. And you'd be like, you think $10,000 amounts for? You know what I'm saying?
It ain't even gonna be 10. You thinking too high, bro. It's gonna be like $250.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
It's gonna be it's gonna be like $250, and then if you say, wait a minute, this ain't even enough, they're gonna look at you and be like, oh, they just ungrateful.
You ungrateful. It's the exact same conversation as what happened with Kaepernick. Kaepernick takes a knee, right? Everybody's pissed, saying you can't kneel because of the Pledge of Allegiance, blah, 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 blah. Then he talks to a military officer. He says, yeah, it was a little bit disrespectful. Maybe if you just, I forgot what his fits was, but then Kaepernick does that, they still pissed. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter because it was never about you kneeling in the first place. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You ungrateful. You get to play a game and make millions of dollars. You paying me. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? You are paying me to do this. So if you don't want to see me do it, stop paying, fool. Like,
the amount of money that I think we should all get for reparations is make it enough. That's exactly what they're gonna say.
100%.
Make it enough. So
that's literally the American attitude at all points.
So that's why I mean, like, y'all can keep fighting for reparations. I think it's a losing fight.
Sure will.
But I'm glad somebody's doing it because I ain't the one.
Long as I'm breathing, I'm never letting that argument go.
No, hey, listen, I don't tell anybody who believes fundamentally that we are going to get reparations. We're going to fight until we get it. I'm not going to tell anybody to stop. I personally don't see the reality behind it actually happening.
I just think that the level
we couldn't get vaccines fast enough in a pandemic, and you think we gonna get money? They be having a hard time giving us our tax refund checks, bro.
And Brevin, I just bought that book today.
I don't judge anybody.
I just bought that book today. I think you missing what Javon's saying. He's not judging anything. He's not saying he doesn't want it. He's not saying none of that. All he's saying is I don't believe it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Because of America's history. He's not based on anything other than the fact that America's still America, and America.
They're gonna give us Chick-fil-A cards, bro. They're gonna give us Chick-fil-A cards. They're gonna give us Chick-fil-A and McDonald's cards, and they're gonna be like,
"You can get a lemonade, and you better not supersize it."
Nope, can't even be a large.
And no supersize. You better take this medium. You better take this medium
and be happy.
And because again, in the history of this country, you're not gonna find a thing. You're not gonna find a law. We couldn't get the George Floyd Act passed. You know what I'm saying? It still ain't been passed right now. Literally, anti-lynching laws still aren't passed. So
think about how hard we got to fight for stuff that ain't gonna give us no money.
Yeah.
Think about how hard.
Literally, anti-lynching laws are still not passed.
We got to fight hard to pass laws that will stop them from killing us. And you think they're gonna give us money?
Just normal stuff.
Cool.
Hey man,
Knock
can you
yourself.
stop beating me up before you say anything that I did in the first place? I didn't even do anything yet. But,
I
look
would
how long it
listen
took me.
if the day happens and we actually get a substantial reparations. I will gladly eat my words. I'll be like, you know what?
I
I
don't think
was
you have to
wrong.
eat your words on that. I don't think you have to eat your words on that because you're not
I got
saying
no
that it's
problem eating my
you're
words.
not
I
saying it's
just
not
believe it when I
possible.
see it.
You're not saying that it's not possible. You're just saying I can't see it, and that's not that you don't have to eat your words on that. If you would have to eat your words to say that will never ever happen again. It's impossible. Then you eat words on that. You don't eat words on I just don't see it. That's like the Super Bowl. We making Super Bowl predictions, and you like I just don't see them doing that.
I think if reparations happens, it'll happen after I'm gone. My son might get reparations, but I
I'm
probably
going to fight as long as I live to I'm for it, and this is where Jax gets it from. I'm for equality in whatever it is across the board, and of course for my people first because we the bottom of the caste system, and that was on purpose. Um, uh, because at the end of the day, the way you feel about it, yeah, okay, yeah. So I mean, I just I think that it's possible depending on who we put in office, but it's going to take um, a drastic number one. It's going to take a generational change, and
it's
which
going to take a
we're already
seismic
in the middle
shift
of.
in policy in perception.
We're
A
we're, we're in
seismic shift.
we're in the middle of yeah, but it's possible.
It's going to take the cycle. You got to cycle out all that racism and old boy mentality that currently resides, that old rich man. You got to cycle out all that old rich white man mentality that it currently resides in our government. That needs to be cycled out.
But that's also why when I was given my ways to build the wealth that I was going micro and macro.
I know, right?
Look, I was
I
going
know.
micro and macro because some of this stuff, like I put reparations number one because it's the most egregious thing, right? Not because I believe it's going to happen, not because any of that. It's because it's the most egregious thing. It's one of the most egregious things that in this country still right now is staring us in the face. It's absolutely egregious. To me, it's evil for it not to have been done already. Literally, like I'm talking about bottom of the pit, bottom of Satan's freaking feet, evil.
I
Like
feel
it's
like
that
it's
level.
the least of our problems.
I ain't gonna say that. I just put it number one because again of how egregious it is. You know what I'm saying? That it's not already a thing.
I think
Um,
not getting reparations is the least of black people's problems. There are quite a few things that we need addressed and fixed before we even get to reparations. To
yeah,
me,
but that's what I'm saying. The reason I put it number one is because if you had reparations, those things would no longer you would be empowering us even faster to our station. Do you see what I'm saying?
I guess
Like one of the things I was talking about is investing, right? If the millionaires and the billionaire black, if the black millionaires and billionaires that we have in this country, and I thank God for them, if we were to turn that money around and whatever city you're in, you take a hood, right? Like in Durham, we got Meduga Terrace. We watched all those news reports of the asbestos, how terrible the city inspection went, all of that stuff, them having to put them up in hotels so they can clean stuff up or whatever. If a millionaire from Durham came back and was like, "Look, I'm buying Meduga Terrace. I'm gonna clean up these houses and I'm gonna make some type of initiative to make sure that we coming in and check on y'all and the tenants that deserve these new revamped joints and take care of it. These are things that we want because again, we're not gonna be stupid and act like everybody. If you were raised in poverty, you know poverty stricken things. You know what I'm saying? So somebody has to show you how to not tear up stuff if you're impoverished. You know what I'm saying? It's for some people. Some people just are there like maybe they didn't grow up impoverished. That's their circumstance right now. But the point is, if you get millionaires to come in and buy Meduga Terrace, revamp it all together, check it. Black millionaires could do that. Exactly. That's my point. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I said investing. When I talk about that, if you have a black millionaire per city, you know what I'm saying, that just takes one hood and will invest in that hood to give them give them what they need. One of the bigger things is, and one of the other ways that that our education system is stupid and retarded is the fact that what I'm saying, you get the resources based on your tax bracket within the confines of where that school is. So if you poor, you go into a poor school. Period. That's another way to keep people separated. If you give them equal education, those kids are not stupid. You're just not investing in them. You know what I'm saying? If you were investing in them, if you were showing them things outside of poverty, they would not be impoverished anymore. Poverty is a mindset on top of lack of education. If you teach somebody not to be impoverished, they're less likely to be impoverished. It's that simple.
But I'll say this though, you'd be surprised at how much Black millionaires already invest within their own community.
I do agree. I agree.
So
I agree.
I mean,
because a lot of them do it on the low and don't say anything about it. And
right?
I love the heck out of them for it.
I mean, even my God brothers, like I'm not trying to put them on blast, but I know that they give back to their community. They give back to the community in Atlanta and in Connecticut. So you know what I mean? Like they do. Like I hate to say,
you can't do it all by yourself.
Well, right? Like being a millionaire looks amazing. It sounds amazing.
But that money don't go. It don't stretch as far as we think it does.
Exactly. Like, the Black millionaires we have are like here, and the white billionaires are like over there on the back. You know what I mean? Like the wealth level is so much. The gap in even between between what's his name? Electric car dude. Why can't I remember his name?
Elon Musk.
Between Elon Musk and say LeBron James is far and away
astronomical,
ridiculous. Like, and LeBron got money.
Yeah.
Yes, billionaires need to be taxed, but we have to, that's not going to fix problems for us because we might not see the money that's being taxed.
Nope.
Like that's the problem. The problem is billionaires need to be taxed, but the wealth distribution and where that money goes is really the issue.
Yeah.
Because that money ain't coming to us like we think it should.
And it for sure ain't coming to the hood.
Damn sure ain't coming to the hood.
Because that's the exact same thing as when Obama did the bailout for the auto companies. And
we will if they give us health care in college. What? We will what?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't understand. But that's my whole point. Like, we talk about Black millionaires should do this and Black millionaires should do that. And I'm saying these Black millionaires that we talking about, a lot of those dudes are single-digit millionaires or maybe double-digit millionaires.
Yeah, so you can't really do but
triple-digit. They not.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that we have enough to flip everything right now. He just doesn't have.
You know, MJ said F them kids, man.
And did. But he's doing better. He's done better in the last 5 years.
Listen, we joke about Michael Jordan, but it's well documented that Michael Jordan gives back. So
yeah, he's done better in the last 5 years. Especially.
See that money if they make healthcare and college free. I guess. Yeah,
I think the biggest things that need to happen are all systemic, in my opinion. Because the biggest thing we're fighting is not even blatant racism anymore. It's systemic racism, which a lot of people look at the fight for critical race theory. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not even going to say that, though. I think the biggest issue we have is we as Black people have is purely, yes, racism is a huge issue for us, but purely from the mental standpoint that we deserve and we can be financially successful and wealthy on our terms. I don't think a lot of Black people believe that.
You mean changing the mindset to
changing like we can be financially successful and we can be educated. Being educated isn't a positive thing for a lot of people.
Agreed.
Especially a lot of Black. Listen, man, I've talked to some of these Black kids, and I've been told, like, from Black kids, and I'm older.
I'm not on.
Why do you speak like that?
Yeah.
And I'm just like the the lack of importance on being educated and the mental block that a lot of Black kids have, that the only way that they can be financially successful is if they are
Hooping or rapping,
hooping, rapping, or at the
singing,
very least a doctor.
some type of entertaining.
No, I agree. No, we're not disagreeing with you. Like, I agree that healthcare, having free healthcare and free college, it's seismic. That is a huge thing, and it
Definitely.
helps to level the playing field. But what
But
I'm
it
saying
only
is that
help. It doesn't help.
you can have that healthcare and you can have free college and still have the mentality that, like Morgan said, being a worker bee instead of being a boss.
Yeah.
We don't think enough about being a boss. We think about, okay, I got out of college, now I gotta go get a job, instead of I got out of college, now I'm gonna go make a job.
Yeah. I'm gonna go build this business so I can give out jobs.
Right. Like, even me, I'm agreeing. Like, I'm telling you myself, when I graduated from college, I was like, okay, now I gotta go get a job. It wasn't until I got married. Not even I got married, right after I got engaged, that I was like, you know what? I really don't want to work for people per se. Like, I want to work for myself. But I wasted like 3 years. And yeah, I guess you could say it's slave trauma. But I think it's more of cultural. It is a cultural thing. But it's also like, it's a part of the entertainment. The media has a big part of in it too. Like, we can't act like, the images being portrayed about us don't dictate a lot of people's thought process on what is available in life.
Of course. But hey, and that's where that's another reason why I celebrate our artists that are forerunning for us right now. You know what I'm saying? And we are a part of that process too. Issa Rae, Jordan Peele, Regina King, Regina Hall, Kevin Hart, Steve Harvey. He's doing it a different way.
But I'm just trying to get away from the entertainment industry.
No, but what I'm saying is,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
You said media, so that's why I'm bringing it up. Like, they're changing the narrative. They're changing the narrative by us telling our own story. That's a huge deal.
Yes.
Because we've never done that, had that opportunity before. For Black people to tell their own stories is a huge deal.
So, like, there are kids I've met who are just fantastic artists, and that they have no idea how to monetize what they do outside of, like, social media. And I'm like, you could be a graphic designer, you could be an illustrator, you could write your own children's book. Do your own children's book right now. Go out there, sell it. You making money right now, already, automatically. And it's just like, there's the lack of creativity in the Black community on how to make money and ways to make money.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That to me comes back to education. You know what I'm saying? And that education happening early. So, like, mentorships, or just because it's not going to be a part of the curriculum. Again, we going through that. Like, to me, one of the biggest harbingers that you see for the fight that we're in right now is the fact that critical race theory got fought as hard. People were crying, threatening violence, and they had no idea what critical race theory was. No earthly idea what it was. Still don't know right now, but they're pissed about it. You know what I'm saying? And you literally have laws being passed faster for that than you do reparations. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have laws being passed faster to stop critical race theory than you do for reparations. The George Floyd Policing Act, HR 40 and extending that anymore. Anything that gets done for Black people had to come off of the backs of others. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So if y'all want freedom, you better go find another group that we give a crap about, and we're gonna pass that, and you better take the remnant. You know what I'm saying? But passing the bill for just you, nah, it's gotta be the rise. It's gotta be the rise of tides raise all ships. That is the attitude towards African Americans, especially from this administration. Which
When
we
I
knew.
say when I say creativity, I mean creativity and job creation. I don't mean creativity as in they are like a artistic creativity. I mean monetizing what you do in a legal way. Like that's why I made the point of the young girl who draws really well. Okay, you can draw really well, you can make stories. All right, how about I'm gonna sit down with you, let's make a children's book. You make your children's book. All right, cool. Here, I got some money, I'm gonna help invest in you. Here is $300. Go make 50 books. You make 50 books, sell them for $10 a piece. Okay, now you got
change somebody's life with that.
What?
I said you could change somebody's life with that. That's why I said that each one.
That's why I
said that each one for each one is very effective. To be honest with you, it really is. Right. Like if you could change one life, that one person could change a whole lot of other people's lives.
But that's that's what I'm talking about. Like that's what I mean when I talk about investing in. Hold on, but why don't we know how to create jobs? Because we never have. That's a slave. That's not true. Number one, the fact that we know how to create jobs, we do it all the time. How many mechanics and plumbers and whatever got their own gigs where they do their own thing?
They were not technically trained. Right. They just learned that from somebody else. Like that. That's one of the things that I was gonna say earlier. That
people been creating jobs. We've been creating jobs for ourselves for a very long time.
That's what I meant to say. So I meant to say this as part of my list. But for us as African Americans, learning to treat your talent and your hustle as a business. There's a difference in between a business and a hustle. And there's a lot of us that are out here running what could be a business as a hustle. And that's the reason that you're not where you should be, because you're treating it like a hustle and not a business. If you were treating it like a business, everything would be different. It's the reason why you'll go to a Black-owned company, like let's say to print T-shirts or something. You'll go to a Black-owned company and you're supposed to get the T-shirt on Wednesday, and you don't get it till the next Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? But you're still supposed to make sure that you support Black businesses, and then you're caught in the in between of it. It's like, yeah, but if I had went to Bolt printing, I would have got my shirt on Wednesday, like they said. You know what I'm saying? Like they said. But it's only because it's not because that Black company isn't capable. It's because it got treated like a hustle instead of a business. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a mentality change that has to happen. That's why I respect. And that's another reason why I big up and love Black women so much, because they are forerunners in an infinitesimal way as far as being entrepreneurs and being out here in these streets and making a way to go do things, whether they see a way or not. Black women are phenomenal at that. You know what I'm saying? They are leading in all of those things. They're leading in education. Phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? And we need more support for them too. You know what I'm saying? So when they step out there, that we bolster them, not just as their men in relationships with them, but just as somebody, like if you see your sister start a business, patronize that joint, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because again, and that's and it's
I'm with you on that being professional.
Yeah, but it's a two-sided coin though. It's a two-sided coin because
I've dealt with a lot of people who
I know, but it's still like I've seen it a lot where our wick burns shorter with our own people than it does with the other company. The other company do the same ish, but they're more reputable.
Not to the level that I've seen. Like
no,
there's a certain,
but that's situational.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just talking about the education and the indoctrination of Black people to be more professional in the things that they do. Like we need to step up our game. Like you said, if you're going to do a hustle or you're going to do a business, I do graphic arts. I do graphic design. I've done tattoos for people. I try to be very open with them. Listen, need a little more time. I'm just letting you know ahead of time. Are you okay with that? If you're not, blah, 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 blah. Like just communication and stuff like that. Even my own comic books. Somebody buys a book from me, I do everything in my power to try and get that book sent out that day. If I can't, I do it the next day. Like holding on to books, you know, even with the Kickstarters and all that stuff, like getting stuff out there. Like
Yeah.
so much of creating a business and sustaining and managing and being successful is just doing the thing that you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. And
Yeah.
a lot of us
Without
don't.
excuses.
Exactly. And a lot of us don't really believe in it. And I'm not speaking for every other, anybody else. I'm just talking about black folk.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I was gonna say. Like I said, being able to take in mentality it from being a hustle to a business. But I will also say that a lot of times that also happens because you're building at the same time that you already have a dedicated at least 40 hours to working for somebody else. So
yeah, but
that's
there's
why
a way to do that though.
I know, but it's not all. But if you're so again, this whole conversation is framed in the fact that we know we're starting from behind, right? So it's hard. It's hard for anybody to juggle, but it will. By the law of averages, it would be even harder for us to juggle.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is understanding limitations and being professional about it. Like I'm willing to deal with somebody who is like, okay, listen, if I need let's use your t-shirt analogy. If I try to get a t-shirt from you and I need it by Tuesday, and you reach out and it's let's say it's Sunday, and the person, if I'm the other person and I say, you know what, I can't get this done by Tuesday, it's Sunday, I'm gonna let him know now, hey, I need an extra day. So yeah. I as a patron can go, okay, he let me know 2-3 days at a time, let me make my adjustments. But telling me Monday night that you can't have something that was supposed to be done by Tuesday is the problem. But we're not talking about easy. Like I don't even use the word easy. You're saying it's easier to turn a hustle into a business when you aren't worried about putting food on the table that evening. And I'm saying it's, success is not about easy. If it was, everybody would do it.
That is part of what I was that is part of the point I was making, Brevin. It is two-sided. You know what I'm saying? So because again, like I said, you are starting from farther back. You know what I'm saying? Like you're starting from farther back in the first place. So again, if you're looking at it from a law of averages standpoint, if I think I forgot what the average. I just looked at these numbers not too long ago, but the wealth gap between the average white family and the average black family is huge. It's not small at all. Like it's very, very big. Like I think if I'm not mistaken, it's at least $70,000 or $80,000 difference. You know what I'm saying? So like the consequences for the average black family missing a day of work is far higher. You know what I'm saying? Or messing up. You know what I'm saying? We just don't have the margin for error across the board. So I agree with you. And that's part of why I was making a point. Yeah, you need to learn not to treat your business as a hustle. But there also needs to be, that's why I said it's double-sided. But if we're patronizing each other, we also need to, yes, you should be courteous as a business owner to say ahead of time, like you're saying. But at the same time, if there's problems or whatever, if this person gets the stuff the only way I'm not going to go back to that person at all is if that person's a jerk neck, they never get it to me, or, or something like that. Because there's no way that I'm not going to support my brother and my sister that has a business that does good work. Yeah, maybe they didn't get it to me on time, but that's the conversation we could have. Hopefully that y'all build that type of relationship again, because it's not like there aren't other businesses out there that you're gonna have that same thing happen for, and you're gonna give them grace. So
of course, we can be compassionate, absolutely. Once again, that's the point. The point I'm trying to make is you can be professional. You the business owner have to be professional in the community and open in the communication if there are issues. That invites compassion. Whereas if it's Tuesday and I ain't heard from if I put in the order on Friday and it's for Tuesday at 10 and you reach out to me at Tuesday at noon and like, listen, something went wrong on Sunday. I couldn't get this to you now or whatever. And you never communicated to me over that time. You lose the compassion unless it was like something family based, a loss in the family or something like that. Like
or COVID or something that's like a big attenuating circumstance.
But you lose compassion when you lose communication.
And as long as that is across the board, look, my biggest thing is making sure that you keep the same energy. So if it was a company if it was a white company, Asian company, I don't care what race it is because that's irrelevant. As long as you keep the same energy, that's my ultimate point.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But I will also say, like you said, like if we are a black person that has a black business and trying to make sure that you fill those positions within your business with African American candidates first, that's where you get into the conversation of reverse racism and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I don't listen to that.
And because I can't again.
I got no problem. I'll say it right now. When Visually Stoked gets going, I will look. If I got a stack of resumes, I'm just okay. Black, I'm gonna pull them first. I got no problem. I'm not saying I ain't gonna interview the white folks. I ain't gonna say I ain't gonna interview the Hispanics. Actually, I take that back. I'm looking at the minorities before I even get to the white people. And if you got a problem with that, I don't know what to tell you because my name is Javon, Javon. And on many occasions, people have looked at my name and been like, that's a little too black. But whatever. So I'm just saying.
Like I said, I know, like Brevin knows this. I've been in so many of these type of conversations. You don't even understand. You know what I'm saying? So like it's so many. And there's a way to have this conversation on a macro level and a micro level. And like I said, we're definitely got to circle back around to this topic because
by the way, doesn't mean that I don't think white people can't do the job. I'm just making the point that I'm going to look at the minorities first. And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt first.
Because the other reason that is an issue when people say it's an issue when people say that's reverse racism. The biggest reason I have an issue when that's said is because if you really cared about it being equal across the board, I would be all good with that. But you don't. No. You're only saying that because you want to hold somebody else to a standard that you have no intention whatsoever of keeping for yourself, and you would be pissed. You would be the first one in line to say that affirmative action is racist. You'd be the first one in line to say that, even though
heard it on more than one occasion
benefit black people first.
I've heard on more than one occasion how racist affirmative action is. So okay, cool. Then I'm just gonna not be affirmative action. I'm just going to be total action. I'm just going off the top. All right. And I'm going to have a little black, white, black, Asian, other, whatever. You check black. Okay. I'm going to take a look at you first. Once again, I just said first. I didn't say I'm going to hire you off the dome. I'm just saying I'm going to look at you first.
Like I said, man, I've had this conversation more times than I can count.
I gotta get off. I have not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna circle back to it. We can definitely
do this with Danny and I'm sure Roxy has words for this too. Roxy, I'm gonna have to keep this going on my show on Thursday. I might have to do it.
I don't blame you.
Thursday.
I would love to have this
podcast. Come on, we got
Jamal Eagle. Go ahead.
Jamal Eagle, 8:00 Thursday. We're gonna have a good conversation, nice little interview. I might have to bring this conversation up. I might have to ask him for his top 5. I don't know. But
to me, it should be a rolling list.
Visually Stoked and watch it. You should be able to go on visuallystoked.com and watch it, or you can go to Hold on, I'm gonna get the podcast, the Facebook podcast link. It's called the Stoke Podcast. You can find it there. Here, I'm gonna type that out for you, Morgan. On Facebook.
To me, it should be a rolling conversation.
So
Because
if you go on a Stoke podcast, you know that I'm gonna be there every Thursday. Got I got a few good guests, but I got to get off because I'm starving. It's been a pleasure. Y'all have a good evening.
yeah, and I'll close it out. I'll make sure I get an outro or something too, but I'll make sure I post that again. Appreciate y'all for listening, man. I knew that what? Ben wait. Huh? Wait, and Ben, you need to say this and close company. It's definitely a conversation that we're gonna have to continue at different points. But I also knew who is Heidi Carter. Man, you made me forget what I was about to say. It's a good conversation to have. I know I know kind of where our audience is and like what people, what subjects people are going to go for. I knew this one, because we're still early on in building our audience. In on Ozark. I know that I know pretty much what subjects people are going to come in for. I knew this one would be one that people might circle back to it and watch it on YouTube, but if I know about what she did, I have forgotten. Brevin. So you might have to refresh my memory because I definitely right now I'm drawing a blank on it, but it could be because I'm tired. But yeah, I know next week we're doing. All right, okay. I know next week Roxy was looking forward to doing soundtracks, top 5 soundtrack movie soundtracks. So I'm fairly certain we'll be doing that unless somebody comes up with something spectacular that we just can't miss. But I know she's looking forward to that, so I really want to make sure I get that in because that I think that'll be the first topic she chose. So we'll probably be doing top 5 movie soundtracks next week. Audience should probably be pretty good for that. You know what I'm saying? I'll make sure I get it out there early enough. But of course, we're going to circle back to this conversation over time because it's an important conversation to have. And those of y'all who follow me know that this is a conversation I have on a regular basis on my page in one shape or form anyway. Just like the Jordan debate, I can't believe how long that conversation's gone on. Literally, it's over 200 comments now. It's got to be like 250 or something at this point in the basketball group. But on my page, I don't even know where we're at. Hopefully, you guys know about the Kickstarter that I have. I should have said something about it earlier. We are 15 people away from the 100, and I'm trying to reach for my birthday. Followers, you know what I'm saying, for the Kickstarter, because I'm really hoping I can, I'm hoping launching on my birthday is going to garner me some extra pledges so that I can close out the goal on my first day. That would be amazing. I think we closed it out like in a day and a half on the last campaign. But if we can raise the amount on the first day on my birthday would be like phenomenal because I'm going live that night at 8 on my boy Mike's show for Chat and Draw at 8 that night, and he's going to be revealing a variant cover for the comic. So that should be dope. And if we've already passed the goal before I go on the show, that'd be dope. If we pass the goal while I'm on the show, that would be dope. So I mean, the way I think about it is if I can get, you know how everybody comes and says happy birthday on your page. If I can get half of the people that come to my page to say happy birthday to go and hit that link and pledge at least $10, I'll reach the goal before the day is over with, for certain. Because I mean, if I get like 100 people to give $10, that's a G right there in itself. That's not even counting other people that actually in the comics that are already fans of the series that are looking forward to getting that cover and other covers and other stuff that I have. Because I've got some dope reward tiers, some stills that I'm still literally financially contemplating. Like, bro, are you sure that you want to? Like some of the like the $35 tier that I have, you know what I'm saying, for you to be able to get all 3 comics and a t-shirt, I'm very seriously reconsidering that. But I'm not gonna do it because it's an early bird special and I want people to get in there and be excited that they can get that t-shirt and get all the comics. And if I pass the second goal, if I pass my second stretch goal, I'm gonna release Lumberjacks number 3 and 4, and I promise you these next 2 comics, you'll see. I don't gaslight. And I hope people, I can't wait for people to read it so y'all can tell me if I was gaslighting you. Thank y'all, as always. I'll say it again, you know what I'm saying? Help us grow the audience. I believe the concept that we have for the show is dope. We're only going to get better from here, you know, and I really hope that we can grow our audience. And I think the more people that know about what we're doing here can go back and watch the other shows, see what it is we're doing and where we're going. I think we can really get a great audience and build and really make this something that, you know, we can monetize and continue to grow and be one of the dopest shows out here. Like, that would be amazing. I mean, one of my goals is to like meet Charlamagne. There's a whole lot of people out here that I look up to that I would love to meet. You know what I'm saying? And this podcast could be a way, and like to be able to sit down with Charlamagne the Guy, Jay-Z, Killer Mike, you know, people that I look up to, and have these type of conversations with them, and we all get to be a part of it. Are you kidding me? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you kidding me? That would be a dream. And hope, you know, I believe it can be done. I just, you know, we gotta continue to build. So we appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all. Thank you so much for supporting and rocking with us. And, you know, tell people about it, man. Word of mouth is powerful. Facebook shares, we all know how the algorithm goes, but word of mouth is powerful. You could tell them to go to YouTube, Fourth Wall Comments, and subscribe there. That can grow things by itself. But we appreciate y'all, man. We love y'all. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see y'all next week.